One day, Oda, Akira, and the second-year students of a Japanese high school were shocked to see a glowing pile of rubble appear on the classroom floor. They witnessed a pile of glowing rubble appear on the classroom floor. The whole class panicked when the classroom began to shake, and a bright light surrounded them. They all fainted for a moment, and when they woke up, they found themselves in a completely strange place. Akira felt dizzy and wondered where they were. He saw a tall man wearing royal clothes and a crown. The man stood up, greeted all the students, and introduced them to his palace, explaining that they had been summoned to another world. He called himself king, and the girl next to him was his princess, his daughter. The king affirmed that their appearance here was for an important reason. Akira was confused about the current situation, while the king continued his speech, revealing that he had brought them to this world because he needed a hero to defeat the Demon King. The other students still couldn't believe that they had been summoned and could become heroes. The king explains that the world they are in is called Morrigan, consisting of 4 continents inhabited by humans, elves, beastmen, and ghosts. He rules a country called Reddits, which has the largest human population, but is now threatened by monsters. He announced that the students had been chosen as candidates for the title of hero, hoping to save the country from the Demon King. An old man holding a stick stepped out from behind the king and told the students that only one of them could become the chosen hero. However, others will also receive special powers and have an important role in the fight against the monsters. The old man explained that he would show them how to discover their powers. Some students were surprised and curious about what kind of ability the old man was talking about. He revealed that to see details about their abilities, they need to say the phrase, "status open." Akira decided to follow suit and immediately said that sentence. A display screen appeared in front of Akira, showing information about skills, health points, magic points, attack power, defense, and more. Akira realized from the screen that he was an assassin with 18 GP and 12 attack power. He wondered if his numbers were better than other students. Akira could only see his status bar, and a classmate approached him and asked if he could see his status. Akira confirmed that he saw it, but he admitted that he did not remember that classmate's name or the names of half the class. Akira asked his friend his profession, and he revealed he was a wind mage, but not a hero. Then he asked Akira about his profession, and Akira replied that he was an assassin. Hearing that, his friend was very excited and suggested calling Akira a ninja because he often disappeared in class. Akira believes that the status bar in this world reflects their experiences and characteristics while in Japan. He realized he had acquired some skills, such as calculating and negotiating when buying goods at the local market. Akira's classmates asked him who he thought would become a hero, and after some thought, Akira suggested Sato Tsukasa as a potential candidate. Akira believes that Tsukasa has the qualities of a hero because he is handsome, good at studying, excellent at sports, and a key member of the student council. The old man then summoned all the students and held out a crystal ball on a small column. The old man asked the students to line up and take turns touching the ball. He explains that this orb is a magical tool that can scan their abilities and display the status for everyone to see. Curious, Akira begins to worry about the orb revealing their abilities. "Because you don't understand the importance of this situation." The old man randomly chose a girl to start, and she agreed. Akira realized that making his abilities public could be a risk. When the girl touched the ball, a large screen appeared, displaying her stats for all to see. Akira was stunned to see that the girl's abilities were much weaker than his. He wondered why this happened and realized the situation was not in his favor. Determined to keep his abilities a secret, Akira activates the skill Stealth. This is a skill that assassins often use to hide from normal sight. His classmate was about to say something to Akira, but to his surprise, he could no longer see Akira. Confused, the classmates looked around, wondering where Akira had disappeared to. Akira breathed a sigh of relief when his stealth skill succeeded. He took the opportunity to stay alert in case anything unusual happened. At this time, it was Tsukasa's turn, and Akira watched closely to see if Tsukasa's stats were stronger than his own, which would help Akira be more confident when revealing his status. When Tsukasa approached the crystal ball and placed his hand on it, his classmates began to whisper, thinking that Tsukasa might be the chosen hero. When Tsukasa's occupation is revealed to be hero, Akira noticed that Tsukasa's total stats were still significantly lower than his own. This confused Akira, wondering why he was stronger than the hero. The old man happily greeted the hero, expressing his joy at seeing him. He explains that in their current role, most people only have a maximum attack power of 100, with even the most talented warriors only reaching a maximum of 500. At the end of his speech, the old man assured everyone that, with the hero by their side, they would easily defeat the Demon King without any problems. Akira began to feel worried and wondered why he was so strong. The old man then asked all the students to follow him, promising to help them prepare and equip them with the necessary items for the upcoming journey. Akira saw a surveillance camera on the ceiling and felt even more worried. It feels like something is about to happen. Afterwards, he found an empty room to rest and reflect on the situation. While thinking about the purpose of the assassin profession, Akira realizes that he is destined to be the hero's supporter thanks to his negotiation skills. He also felt that the king was hiding something from all the students. Akira decided to continue to hide and stay away from the sphere so as not to be discovered. He recalls that since he was introduced, he was separated from his classmates and waited for his opportunity. He noticed that the room he was in had not been cleaned since he entered, but luckily there were no surveillance cameras in there. At night, Akira decided to leave his room to discover the king's secret. He sneaked into the armory to get new clothes and weapons, because wearing a school uniform will make him easily detected. After that, Akira quickly found the king and accidentally eavesdropped on the conversation between the king and Princess Maria. She said the summoned students were not aware of the irregularities and were unclear about their true intentions. The king ordered the princess to continue with the plan and prevent the students from entering the exhibition hall. He also planned to send the knight as commander the next day to train the students. After the princess left, the king went into his study to write something. Akira had planned to assassinate the king, but at the last minute he changed his mind. Realized that he did not understand the king's plan clearly. He decided to withdraw, a decision he later regretted. Meanwhile, in a forest, a young girl is running away frantically, being chased. Suddenly, an arrow hit her leg, causing her to fall. She realized that the arrow had an anesthetic tip. When she tried to pull out the arrow, the attacker, a woman, came closer and mockingly asked why she was still alive. The next morning, all the students gathered in the breakfast area. Everyone seemed to be enjoying their meal and chatting lightly about all sorts of things. Suddenly, Tsukasa attracted attention by slamming his hands on the table and standing up. He asked everyone to pay attention and listen a bit. Tsukasa admits that they all felt confused and couldn't think clearly because of yesterday's shocking event when they were summoned to another world. However, Tsukasa reassures everyone that he will use his powers to help the people of this new world. He encouraged the students, expressing his belief in their inner strength and calling on them to join the quest to defeat the Demon King. Tsukasa's words lifted the students' spirits, and they cheered him in unison. However, Tsukasa secretly doubts their enthusiasm, realizing that they do not know whether the king and princess can truly be trusted. He also pondered how people would react when they found out that the story about monsters invading human territory might just be a lie. Despite this, the students still agree to follow Tsukasa. Meanwhile, Akira breathed a sigh of relief because he had activated the stealth skill earlier, keeping him from being detected. After breakfast, Akira briefly thought about running away from the castle alone. At the training ground, the students were surprised by the large area of this place, admitting that it was larger than their schoolyard. A cheerful man stepped forward and introduced himself as Saran Misre, commander of the cavalry of the Redise Kingdom and the last line of defense. With a joking tone, he confided to Deputy Commander Zeal Asti that introducing himself like that felt awkward. However, Zeal advised him that showing his true character too early could cause students to underestimate him. Commander Saran informs the students that within a month they will have to enter an underground dungeon, so he promised to train them hard every day until that time came. Some students worry whether they can become strong within a month, but Saran reassured them that if after training they still did not improve, the problem was their incompetence. This makes students feel discouraged, but Saran acknowledged their potential and believed they could pass the training easily. Akira and Saran looked at each other for a moment. Akira smiled and acted normally, but he still doubted whether their eyes would actually meet because his stealth skill was active. Akira decided to leave because he did not want to obey the king's orders. Saran assigned the training task to Zeal and quickly disappeared before Zeal could protest. While Akira was still wandering, he suddenly heard the commander ask him where he was going. Akira faltered, trying to start the conversation naturally, but Saran saw right through him. Akira asked how the commander could see him, and Saran reveals that he has a special skill called Demon Eyes. This is a skill that allows the user to see things that the naked eye cannot see. Akira stopped pretending and accepted the punishment for skipping training. However, Saran was not interested in punishing him or forcing him to return to training, but just wanted to know where Akira was going. Akira admits that he plans to go to the library. Saran reminded him that the king had forbidden entry there, but Akira still wanted to learn more about this world. Saran confirms that Akira used the stealth skill, and Akira admits it. Saran asked about Akira's skill level, and Akira revealed that all of his skills were at level 1. Saran offered to teach Akira how to upgrade his skills, but Akira suspected that there were conditions attached. Saran suggested a deal to exchange information about their world, and Akira agreed. They shook hands to confirm the deal. At that moment, Zeal appeared and called the commander. He sees Saran with Akira and blames Saran. Because there is still much work to be done, Zeal apologizes to Akira for Saran's behavior. Akira asked Zeal if he could visit the barracks another time, and Zeal happily agreed. On the way back, Saran and Zeal realized that it had been a long time since Saran had smiled like he did when talking to Akira. Saran admitted it. Zeal asked Saran about the conversation, and Saran replied that it was just a normal conversation about sharing information about their world. Saran told Zeal some things about Akira's world, like moving metal boxes, floating metal blocks, and the way information spreads instantly around the world. Saran also mentioned that Akira comes from a place called Japan. Zeal recalls that the first hero was also from Japan, and speculates that Akira may be stronger than the first hero. Saran agrees and mentions that Akira's stealth skill has reached its maximum level. Zeal was surprised to hear this, because besides the first hero, no one has reached the maximum level of skill. Saran explains that in their world, the maximum skill level is usually 9, and very few people can surpass level 7. However, those summoned from other worlds can easily surpass these levels. Saran wondered why the king didn't recognize Akira and suspected that Akira used the stealth skill to avoid yesterday's ceremony. He was confident that the king knew nothing about Akira's abilities. Saran continues to praise Akira's talent until Zeal asks if Saran plans to bring Akira to their camp. Saran replied that if Akira had realized the king's true nature, perhaps they should share their thoughts with him. Saran decided to train Akira directly, not only to help him survive in the dungeon, but also to help him optimize his skills. While Tsukasa was practicing outside, he saw Akira and expressed her dislike for him. Tsukasa reveals that they have known each other since they were children, but Akira forgot his name when they were in middle school, even though they used to sit next to each other. Tsukasa mentioned his popularity, academic achievements, athletic ability, and appearance, but Akira still didn't remember, proving that Akira had no interest in him. Tsukasa has been silently watching Akira since they arrived in Morrigan and feels dissatisfied with Akira's hesitation in joining the group, as well as his increasingly close relationship with Commander Saran. Tsukasa wonders why Akira doesn't acknowledge his presence. Princess Maria approached and gave Tsukasa a glass of water. He took it with a smile. He reminded himself to stay calm because he was a hero, but is determined to become stronger to prove himself to Saran and Akira. 1 month later, after completing training, the students proudly headed towards the dungeon. Everyone cheered and congratulated them, but Akira, wanting to avoid attention, used the stealth skill to avoid being detected. However, he noticed a girl looking at them with cold eyes. Akira approached and asked why she was looking at the heroes like that. The girl coldly replied, asks Akira if he understands the sacrifice that was made to summon them to this world. Before leaving, she suggested they meet again after Akira found out the answer, as she had a feeling that they would meet again. Afterwards, Commander Saran, Zeal, and Akira gathered for a brief exchange. Saran announced that their next destination was the Continental Dungeon. He explains to Akira the existence of dungeons on Morrigan's 4 continents, and that each dungeon is named after its continent. Saran assured Akira that the knights would escort him and the other students to the dungeon and encouraged him to show progress after a month of strenuous training. Brave students participate in fighting monster rats, and they succeeded in destroying many of them. However, due to the large number of rats, a few of them got past their defenses. In a moment of danger, a rat rushes at a girl, causing her to scream in panic, but Akira quickly destroys the danger. Akira expressed surprise at Saran, admitting that he had underestimated the students' abilities. Akira recalled that they had progressed smoothly through the first 30 floors of the dungeon. Unfortunately, one of the students accidentally triggered a trap, causing monster rats to flood in. The students continued to fight, but the situation gradually became unbearable. Akira suggests to Saran that they retreat, and Saran agrees. He commended the students for the progress made so far. Saran announced that he would create a way out for them and encouraged the students to quickly take advantage of that opportunity. After chanting magic and using the heavenly sword skill, Saran creates a clear escape route for students. Zeal ordered the students to run to the surface, following the path that Saran had opened. While running away, the students realized that there were still monsters waiting for them at the entrance of the next floor. Suddenly, Tsukasa remembered the smoke bomb that Princess Maria had given him to use in dangerous situations. The smoke bomb did not explode but continuously emitted smoke, causing the monsters to panic and run away. Tsukasa realized that he was out of smoke bombs, so he ran in front of the group of students and advised them to keep close together and run at the same time. Zeal and another knight combined their skills to knock out more monsters. Akira was impressed with their coordination and asked Saran if the knights had enough strength to defeat the Demon King. Saran ignored the question and ordered them to retreat. While retreating, they heard a loud roar from upstairs and rushed up to check. They discover a minotaur, surprising Zeal, as such monsters usually only appear in deeper dungeon levels. Akira tried attacking the minotaur, but his knife broke on impact, revealing the terrifying sturdiness of the monster. Akira approached Tsukasa to ask about the situation, and Tsukasa explains that they were just using smoke bombs to scare the monsters, but the minotaur appeared after they used the last smoke bomb. The minotaur attacks, and Tsukasa tries to block the attack with the sword, but as a result, his arm was broken. Zeal reassures Akira that the knights will take care of the minotaur and advises him to take Tsukasa to see a physician. Akira escorts Tsukasa, praising his courage and tenacity while enduring the pain. Tsukasa responds to Akira's words by asking if he doesn't protect his classmates, then who will? Akira immediately objects, asking who will protect Tsukasa if he takes on the responsibility of protecting everyone. Akira emphasizes that their goal is not just to protect others, but to use their power to defeat the Demon King. He reminds Tsukasa that their classmates have been trained for this day, and they can protect themselves. Akira advised Tsukasa to prioritize taking care of his health first. Before long, Tsukasa's behavior became unusual, and he began mumbling and speaking incoherently. Akira quickly realizes something is wrong with Tsukasa. Akira then asked his classmates if anyone had the ability to heal or exorcise evil spirits. Two girls stepped forward, Hosoyama Shiori, a healer, and Ueno Yuki, an exorcist. Yuki wonders if being an exorcist can help Tsukasa, and Akira replied that he would explain later. Akira asks Shiori to heal Tsukasa's arm, and she agrees immediately. Yuki asks about her role, and Akira instructs her to use the Wormwood skill on Tsukasa. Wormwood magic is a skill that helps the user exorcise evil spirits or banish curses on others. Yuki began chanting spells and performing the exorcism. At first, the spells seemed effective, but then Tsukasa's body resisted the exorcism, surprising everyone because they did not know that Tsukasa had been cursed all along. Akira noticed the knights were having difficulty dealing with the powerful minotaur and thought about joining the battle. However, he hesitated because he didn't want to leave Tsukasa while he was still recovering. Another classmate encouraged Akira to participate in the match. Assure them that they will take care of Tsukasa. Filled with determination, Akira approaches Saran and insists that he has important information about Tsukasa's condition. However, Saran suggests leaving this until after they defeat the minotaur. Akira explains that because his dagger is damaged, he was forced to use the secret skill he had learned, whether Saran agreed or not. Saran accepts the plan and urges Akira to ensure everyone's safety when they return to the surface. After the terrible monster was destroyed, Akira and his classmates are led by brave knights as they exit the dangerous dungeon. However, their journey is not over yet. There is still a long way to get back to the castle safely. As they entered the jungle, the commander issued a stern warning, reminding everyone not to let their guard down for even a second. Akira noticed the stark contrast between the chaos in the dungeon and the eerie silence that enveloped the forest, realizing the importance of remaining vigilant in any situation. Akira reminds fellow travelers to always be alert, aware that safety must come first. While resting, Akira decided to check his progress by checking his status. Surprised, he discovered his strength had skyrocketed, from the initial level 1 up to an impressive level 15. Not only did his overall level increase drastically, but other attributes also saw significant improvements. Akira speculates that this sudden increase in power may be a direct result of the battles with powerful monsters in the dungeons that he bravely slayed. This seems to be the most reasonable explanation in the current situation. Currently, Akira's state is 3 times compared to when he first entered this mysterious world, demonstrating his growth and progress. Furthermore, his skills have also improved significantly. Unexpectedly, Akira discovered he possessed 2 new skills, Roar and Threat. Remembering the commander's words about being able to learn skills from defeated enemies, Akira begins to understand the connection between his confrontation with the powerful Minotaur and the emergence of these new skills. However, even though he had improved markedly, the whole experience was still too fast and unbelievable for Akira to fully comprehend. However, with his flexible nature, Akira is still confident that he will easily master these new powers. While pondering the fate of the hero Tsukasa, Akira feels confused by Tsukasa's reckless actions in the confrontation with the monster Minotaur. According to Akira, it was unwise for Tsukasa to try to shoulder the responsibility of protecting people on the battlefield. Each team member has undergone rigorous training and should be able to defend themselves. Tsukasa's brave but thoughtless actions only resulted in him breaking both of his arms, an unfortunate consequence of poor priorities. Akira became even more curious as he wondered if Tsukasa, like him, had learned new skills after fighting with powerful enemies. Upon returning safely to the castle, a feeling of relief overwhelmed everyone. To ensure no one gets lost in the chaos of battle, roll call becomes necessary. However, Akira wished to avoid the usual roll call. He wanted to escape everything related to kings and castles, longing for freedom and independence. While thinking about escaping, the commander intercepted Akira and gave him a wonderful gift, an extraordinary sword, different from any other weapon. It was a katana, a weapon with a glorious history, once used by the first hero. The hero of that time forged this sword himself, revealing an unexpected connection. The commander also informed Akira that both he and the first hero were from the same period and the same place, Japan. This discovery astonishes Akira, as he realizes the responsibility and meaning of the ancestral sword entrusted to him by his teacher. Faced with the terrible Minotaur, Commander Saran realized that even if he used his full power, he could not deal with the monster alone. However, luck smiled when Akira appeared at the right time, causing the commander to ask him for help. Without hesitation, Akira wholeheartedly offered his support, realizing that the commander's knowledge and guidance was more valuable when he was alive than when he was dead. Saran is also sympathetic, admitting that he still has a lot to learn about Akira's world, including wonders like airplanes and telephones. In a sincere promise, Akira pledged to explain to Saran everything he wanted to know, provided they survived this battle. Having reached a solid agreement, they prepared to face the challenge ahead. The observers realized Saran's intentions as he prepared to execute a skillful siege attack to ensure everyone's safety and avoid the monster's devastating attack. They obeyed orders, backing away from the battlefield to keep a safe distance. Saran summoned power from heaven, asking for divine help, and let out a bright flash of lightning that hit the giant monster. Its painful roar rang out, demonstrating why those around had to keep a safe distance. Amid the monster's roar, observers could clearly see that Saran had dealt a powerful blow to the mighty Minotaur. Saran then motioned to Akira, signaling that it was his turn to act. With unwavering determination, Akira used the secret power of dark magic, making Saran admire him for his quick wit and sharp strategy. Their combined skills form a carefully calculated and closely coordinated attack, taking the monster by surprise. Saran ordered Akira to perform a siege attack, noting that the sudden attacks seemed to stun the monster, with even Akira feeling the pressure of the battle. This is not the first time Akira has faced such a harsh challenge. Months of hard training had prepared him for such battles. However, Akira remained undeterred, continuously attacking the monster with precise blows, while using black magic like invisible ropes, tethering the monster from all directions. Determined, Akira engages in a fierce battle, forcing the Minotaur to submit to his power. Finally, the fierce battle ended when the Minotaur was beheaded and the monster collapsed lifelessly. The body is tired after using too much energy. Akira just wanted to go home even though his body was exhausted. Akira was praised for his outstanding performance, truly a great job. The commander informs Akira that he and the first hero are both from the same period, from Japan. This surprised Akira as the commander revealed that the king still did not know about this special gift, and asked Akira to keep this a secret. As it turns out, the katana was actually stolen from the castle's treasure trove. However, the commander justified this action as a necessary evil, as Akira's dagger had been damaged in battle. Interestingly, that dagger was also a treasure stolen from the castle. Thinking deeply, Akira meticulously observed his new sword. Its name, Kogarasu Zukuri, seemed to resonate in his mind. He guessed that it meant little crows are created. This double-edged sword radiates a dark aura with its scabbard, blade, and handle all jet black. Even the back of the sword can cause damage. Curious, Akira decided to learn more about the history of this sword. He remembered reading about it somewhere in his knowledge base. To confirm, he asked the commander about its name. Unexpectedly, the sword bore an inscription in a strange language that neither of them could decipher. However, the sword's real name, Yatono Kami, meaning divine sword, is clearly engraved on it. Although the original inscription remained a mystery to them, when a hero grabbed the sword, a feeling of nostalgia overwhelmed them. As Akira slowly unsheathed the sword, additional engraved characters appeared, this time in a language he understood. As it turns out, the first hero to ever wield this extraordinary weapon left a message for the sword's heir. The message requires the sword to be used with maximum effectiveness in the most critical moments. The whole incident caused Akira to ponder the mysterious nature of the first hero, wondering who that hero really was and what amazing feats he had performed. As Akira carefully placed the magical katana into its ornate scabbard, he prepared to leave. However, the commander took the opportunity to ask about what Akira had hinted at earlier regarding the hero Tsukasa. Eager to share his observations, Akira reveals that Tsukasa appears to be suffering from a curse, which despite repeated attempts by his classmates to dispel, has been unsuccessful. Curious, Akira sought understanding and answers from his commander about this worrying situation. Meanwhile, in another dramatic scene, the true nature of the magic Tsukasa was subjected to is revealed. It was the castle princess who placed the curse on him. With iron determination, the princess decided to control Tsukasa's actions and thoughts at will, using her power and influence with unwavering determination. The situation becomes increasingly tense, creating a suspenseful atmosphere for the story that gradually unfolds. However, the princess's bizarre plots were quickly foiled by Akira. He ruined her entire meticulous plan. Not knowing his identity, the princess doubts Akira's boldness and assumes that he is Tsukasa's friend. She scolded him for daring to invade her private room, implying that he lacked morals. Undeterred by the accusations, Akira asserted that she was not a proper lady, at least not in a respectable way. He accused her of using cunning tricks to keep the person she called her lover, just to satisfy her personal interests. Akira sees it as a disturbing manifestation of deviant emotions. Without any ambiguity, he clearly expressed his disagreement with these distorted notions of love, motivated by his virtue and purpose. Akira reached out and grabbed the crystal, while the princess was still mumbling incantations. A chill ran down his spine as he felt the icy energy radiating from the crystal, even though he yanked it off the table. After confiscating the crystal, Akira is confident that Tsukasa will finally be freed from the bonds of the curse. However, before leaving, he asked the princess to explain why she was absolutely loyal to the king's orders. The princess replied that she was always loyal to the throne because she wanted to serve the king's interests. Satisfied with the answer, Akira gently left, easily escaping through the window. The encounter with the princess leaves Akira lost in thought, wondering about her understanding, or more accurately, lack of it, about love. He begins to doubt her upbringing and the reasons behind her skewed views on love and dedication. To learn more, Akira confides in the commander, who reveals a heartbreaking truth. The princess lost her mother at birth and grew up under the care of a king who always lives in her memory. The king has passed away. Without her mother's guidance, the princess is forced to learn the intricacies of love on her own. This story reveals her unique way of viewing love, despite her difficult upbringing. The princess has become a resilient and determined woman. Akira quickly realized that confiscating a crystal was just a small delay. The princess has a whole store of crystals, ready to replace the one he took away. After meeting with the princess, Akira returned quietly to report to the commander, trying to keep quiet. However, what confused him was that the commander easily detected his presence, causing Akira to wonder how the commander could ruin his hiding plan so easily. The commander, with a knowing smile, commented that Akira's failure to hide was just proof that he understood Akira too well. The long time together created a deep bond, making all of Akira's efforts in vain. Turning attention to the true purpose of Akira's presence, Akira gives the confiscated crystal to the commander, revealing that it was the commander who gave him the intuition that led to taking the crystal. The crystal was clear evidence, reinforcing their prediction. Absorbed, the commander took the crystal, his mind full of thoughts and concerns. This new discovery made Akira worried. He quickly asked if the curse had really been broken. Reassured by the commander, Akira learns that the curse has been lifted. However, there was still something unclear in the commander's answer, making Akira even more curious and yearning for a clearer explanation. Unfortunately, the commander kept it a secret, promising to study the crystal more thoroughly. He allowed Akira to rest for the night, advising him to relax after the series of dramatic events that had occurred in a short period of time. However, Akira still doubts the safety of sleeping in his room, located within the castle walls, especially when he has displeased the princess and become an enemy in her eyes. He thought about his options, considering finding another safe haven for that night. Before parting ways with Commander Saran, Akira brought up a topic he had mentioned before, something that still intrigued him. The commander reassured him that the information Akira requested would be available tonight and that they would continue their conversation after a well-deserved night's rest. With that promise, Akira left, his mind full of unanswered questions and anticipation. As the sun slowly rose above the horizon, golden light covering everything, Akira felt regretful for not waking up earlier. The fight the previous day and the events that followed had left him tired, unable to wake up as early as he wanted. However, this is not surprising after the hardships he went through. As he begins morning work, Akira realizes that Tsukasa, the respected hero, is actively searching for him. Inwardly, Akira pondered Tsukasa's condition, wondering if he had truly been freed from the vortex of the curse. He felt relieved to see that Tsukasa seemed to be okay. Akira decided to appear and start a conversation, asking how Tsukasa was doing, worried about his mood. Tsukasa hastily asserted that he was fine, but clearly his health was not the biggest concern right now. The atmosphere around Tsukasa exuded urgency, as if something serious had happened involving Commander Saran. Unfortunately, Tsukasa couldn't reveal the details right away, leaving Akira in a state of worry about this important situation. Having no other choice, Akira had to follow Tsukasa, anxious to know the cause of this chaos. The two quickly returned to the castle, where a tragic scene appeared before Akira's eyes. Commander Saran lay motionless on the floor, with a fatal wound piercing his chest. This sight filled Akira with sadness and disbelief, waves of painful emotions rising in his heart. A crowd gathered around the commander's body, claiming he was dead. Akira couldn't understand why this happened. He lost his teacher and friend. He longed for answers, but one person in the crowd, seemingly unaffected by Akira's pain, pointing to Akira's dagger stuck in the commander's chest. Several others also agreed, claiming they saw Akira use that knife in battle. This can only mean one thing. Akira is the murderer. The crowd begins to riot, believing that Akira has killed Commander Saran. Akira tried to reassure and explain, but they called him insults, and the situation quickly got out of control. Akira was confused. He was sure that someone must remember that his dagger was broken during the battle with the Minotaur monster. Why doesn't anyone remember that? Why doesn't anyone stand up and remind those who have forgotten? Suddenly, Akira realized something when he saw the princess and the king standing in the crowd. Maybe his classmates were fascinated. That's why they turned their backs on him so easily. If this is truly a plot by the king and princess, then exonerating himself will be an extremely difficult task. Akira approached the commander's body and pulled the bloody dagger from his chest. He informed the king that he was leaving because he had now become an obstacle. The king has no intention of letting Akira go easily. Logically, everyone believed that he had killed their commander, the last protector. Letting such a murderer go without severe punishment is madness. Out of earshot, the princess whispers to Akira that he knows too much, just like the deceased commander. So what's about to happen is the price they pay for their curiosity. The king ordered Akira's arrest, but he remained surprisingly calm, clearly thinking one step ahead in the king's plan. As the guards approached, Akira activated his stealth skill and disappeared. The king ordered his bodyguards to search everywhere, checking every corner. Meanwhile, the deputy commander tries to contact Akira, informing him that the commander left a letter for him, along with something Akira once requested. The deputy commander also wanted to know if the Night Crow's assassination unit was operating under the king's orders, but couldn't wait for an answer. He warns Akira to be careful because he has now become a target, and advised him to leave the castle immediately for safety with a serious nod. Akira said goodbye to the deputy commander, mentally deciding to leave the castle. The request he once sent to Commander Saran now became an indispensable part of his meticulous plan, a testament to his wisdom. From the beginning, Akira intended to leave the castle, but events, especially the king's careless actions, only accelerated his plan to leave. However, this ill-timed escape comes at a terrible price. The loss of the man he deeply respected, Commander Saran, who tragically died. Determined and steadfast, Akira vows to avenge his commander's death, promising to bring justice to those behind it. However, Akira also realizes that the road ahead will be very long and challenging. Although mentally resilient, he is also aware of his current limits. Akira understood that he still did not have the strength he wanted. He is forced to accept that the road to revenge may be long, requiring him to grow and strengthen before he can face his enemies with the strength he desires. Meanwhile, the king was in a happy mood. He chatted with the princess about his wish being fulfilled. Commander Saran's death was bad news for everyone, but for the king, Saran was just an annoying bug that needed to be exterminated. The fact that a great man like Saran was killed easily pleased the king. The princess even suggested that they reward the Crow's assassination unit for their efforts. Furthermore, the curse on everyone except the hero is complete. Now, there was only one reason left to wage war with the Eastern Kingdom. Everything would be a reason to celebrate, if not for the existence of a stubborn person, Akira. Even though the king wanted to ignore his presence, he couldn't stop thinking about Akira, who was always present in his mind. Such people often end their lives unexpectedly and randomly, but to be sure, the king still orders the Night Crows to follow Akira. It's been 10 days since Akira entered the king's dungeon. Underground, there is no sure way to measure time, but Akira relies on his stomach to determine the time, counting the number of meals he has eaten. At one point, Akira realized that he had to save on rations. So he started grilling meat from the monsters he met. Surprisingly, they were delicious. Currently, he focuses on monsters that look like animals and ignores those that look like humans. But Akira knows that at some point, he may have to let go of being picky. The times when Akira rests to eat are when he is most vulnerable to attack. So, as a precaution, he always keeps his stealth and danger detection skills active. Even though these skills consumed physical strength and magic power, he still couldn't risk being negligent. But that's all that's on Akira's mind right now. At this time, Akira needs to eat and prepare for the next room, the boss's room. Every 10 floors has a giant boss. In front of Akira right now is the boss room of floor 60, which means he has faced bosses from floors 10 to 50. Floor 10 has a goblin general, which Akira can easily handle. The 20th floor is an orc, and the 30th floor is an extremely difficult red wolf. To pass the 40th floor, Akira must fight the Goblin King. Floor 50, the biggest challenge, Akira faces Fenrir. Confronting Fenrir is not too difficult. But what makes it difficult is that Fenrir comes with 4 level 30 red wolves. To defeat them, Akira must use stealth skills and attack each one from behind. Akira wondered what he would do if he didn't have skills. This made him determined to improve his fighting techniques, not just relying on skills anymore. Since defeating the boss on floor 50, Akira has always been steadfast in that determination. He reached the 60th floor with only his curved sword and fighting skills, regardless of magic. However, Akira realized that the quality of his opponents was getting stronger. He knew he might have to use the skill again sooner than expected. Akira is currently in the boss room. Every boss room he had experienced had doors that automatically locked when someone entered, and these doors would not open until the battle ended. In other words, once Akira enters, there are only 2 outcomes. He dies or the boss dies. This is not something anyone wants to accept, but Akira is ready for battle. As soon as Akira entered the room, the boss appeared. This is a truly killer monster. The giant monster had the head and upper body of a lion, the horns and lower body of a goat, and the tail of a poisonous snake. With little knowledge of Greek mythology, Akira quickly realized that this monster was a chimera. He prepared to fight, telling himself that this time it was just a duel and couldn't be too difficult. But he was wrong. The chimera was as agile as its strength, continuously rushing towards Akira at terrifying speeds, and Akira just barely dodged each time. What makes the battle more difficult is that the Chimera has no blind spots, thanks to its poisonous snake tail that can attack from all sides. Akira found it difficult to attack from behind. This was no ordinary duel, but a real nightmare. Whether pondering how to survive or being overwhelmed by the Chimera's massive presence, Akira lost focus for a moment. This gave the Chimera an opportunity to rush at him and slam him against the wall. Akira screamed in pain. It felt like all his ribs were broken by that attack. With his back against the wall, both literally and figuratively, Akira didn't need anyone to tell him that it was time to stop relying solely on the curved sword. There was no way he could kill the Chimera with that weapon alone. To survive, Akira decided to put all his effort into this battle. In a last-ditch effort, Akira used a dark magic skill on the monster, his arms stretched out. His consciousness began to fade, and Akira felt like he was dreaming, because Commander Saran was standing right in front of him, talking to him. Maybe this was just a memory. Yes, he had heard the commander say this before. Commander Saran tells Akira that his dark magic, no matter how powerful, still has fatal flaws. It seems to have a mind of its own, with extremely high magical power consumption and the risk of losing control. That's why the commander always warns Akira to be careful when using it. Akira is always on high alert when using dark magic. When Akira woke up, he only felt the sweet smell of blood surrounding him. In front of him, Chimera was defeated, but his body still couldn't move. Just thinking back, fighting a boss without using skills is too difficult. Akira fainted again. While dark magic automatically activated due to the extent of his injuries, the system immediately went into recovery mode, but Akira didn't have enough magic power to fully recover. Therefore, the remaining magic power was sucked from the dark magic. This is not a bad skill, especially in urgent situations like this. Once upon a time, the creator created the sky, then the earth. Using his own body as a model, he created humans, including humans, fairies, demons, and beastmen. The creator gave them land to live in, work to do, and status to protect themselves. He hoped that caring for these creatures would help soothe his heart, which had been hardened by the wars between the gods. However, fate was ironic. Humans were no different from the gods. They were also greedy for things like land, women, or men, and from there, wars broke out everywhere. This made the god Aether angry with human behavior, and he created monsters, then divided the world into 4 parts. The Ma tribe, with the ability to control monsters, was hated by other races and pushed out to the volcanic continent called Volcano. As for the fairies, they choose to live on a continent with tall holy trees reaching up to the sky. Their land is called the Forest. The remaining 2 races, humans and beastmen, continued to fight to the end. Humanity won and chose the richest of the 4 continents called Cantonin. The beast race received its own continent called Brute. Just like that, the 4 races had a continent to live on. However, even though the war was over, the Ma clan continued to attack the remaining 3 clans. Up to now, the Ma clan is still the common enemy of the other 3 clans. Akira finally opened his eyes for the first time since defeating the Chimera. Maybe he was dreaming, and it was about Commander Saran. Recently, he often dreamed about Saran, and this time it was about the first day he met the commander. While trying to remember the dream, Akira realized something more surprising. For someone who was previously unable to move, his body was now very healthy, and all the pain had disappeared. Akira didn't understand what happened, but what he was sure of was his current feeling. And right now, he felt very hungry. His first desire was to find something to eat in the forest, but when he looked around, he saw the Chimera's body still lying there on the floor. Compassion must begin nearest, or in this case, right on the ground in the dungeon. The Chimera's flesh showed no signs of spoilage, and there were no insects or maggots around its body. Akira decides to roast the Chimera with one of Kieran Morgan's magic stones. People without magical skills can still use simple spells such as starting a fire or creating water. Akira used the magic stone to roast the Chimera and started eating. He had no regrets. The meat was so delicious that he couldn't stop until he was full. After he was full, Akira thought about why his wound was healed. Could it be that someone accidentally passed by, took pity on him, and treated him? But then he remembered that he was locked in the boss room, which eliminated the possibility of anyone helping. Akira checked his status to confirm that he had no resurrection skill. But then he discovers he has a new skill, and a strange name, Luck. This is not a skill completely unfamiliar to Akira. Actually, he had hoped to acquire this skill sooner. If he had this skill before, perhaps he would have discovered the plan to assassinate Commander Saran and could have stopped it. Akira's threat detection skills warn of approaching danger. He looked around, but at first saw nothing. However, his skills were never wrong, so he trusted and decided to take a closer look. Thanks to that careful look, Akira was able to avoid a slime falling from above. Not only does threat detection skills work, Akira's sensory skills also help him clearly feel that there is someone nearby, but like with the slime, he didn't see anyone at first. Deciding to start with what he knew, Akira decided to defeat the slime before worrying about anything else. The slime made a lot of noise and moved a lot, but Akira had faced more dangerous enemies, and he was not afraid of this monster. The slime tries to attack him by launching slime at him, but is too slow to attack. Akira easily avoided it and charged towards the monster, slashing quickly from his sword. Enough to get started, he told himself. Akira prepared to continue moving. But as soon as the slime was destroyed, he noticed a clear shape inside. Wait, that's a person. Only Akira could have discovered this in the deepest level of the dungeon. It was a girl with long, pointed ears and a very beautiful face. Akira remembered enough of what Commander Saran told him to realize that this was a goblin. As far as he knew, the elves loved nature and holy trees. They hated humans for constantly cutting down forests. Elves also rarely left the forest continent, so Akira wondered why an elf would wander so far. These questions couldn't be answered on his own, and he couldn't leave her there either. So Akira decided to wait patiently until the elf woke up. Akira sat down and waited for the goblin to wake up, not knowing how long it would take. Waiting without doing anything was something that didn't happen often to Akira. His life is often full of events, learning and training, so waiting can give him a new perspective. Even so, Akira told him to be patient, but soon he began to feel bored and decided to find something to do while waiting. Akira remembered that he had a skill from the beginning called Eye of the World. He had never tried using this skill and had no idea what it could do. Maybe this is a good time to check it out. Eye of the World is a skill that allows the user to see the entire truth of the world. The user can also adjust the vision range. Akira decided to try using the skill, but as soon as it activated, his body couldn't bear it. His head ached as if it was about to split. Akira saw a lot of things, but couldn't sustain it for long. Therefore, he must cancel the skill before it causes harm to his body. Akira's dark magic realized that some of his skills could not be used continuously, especially Eye of the World. After reading carefully about the skill, he discovered that he could adjust the range of vision. This made him wonder if he could have better control if he tried again. But before he could try the skill again, Akira noticed something else. The goblin girl he had just saved had woken up. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, in the city, Asahina Kyosuke, a samurai, entered a strange room and began destroying the crystals inside without realizing what he was doing. It seems he is being influenced by the king and princess. Back in the dungeon, the beautiful elf woke up. Akira rushed towards her. The first thing he did was check to see if she was healthy. The elf confirmed that she was completely healthy. Next, Akira offered to feed her, because he thought that after such a long time in slime, she must be very hungry. As he predicted, the elf felt very hungry and quickly took the food from his hand. However, what Akira did not expect was that after finishing eating, the goblin ran away and hid behind a nearby column. Akira wondered if she was afraid of him. It felt like trying to win the trust of a wild animal. He brought another piece of meat to lure her closer, and because she was still very hungry, the elf had to endure it and went out to get food. Through this exchange, Akira felt that he had established a certain level of trust. After feeling more confident, Akira decided to ask her about why she was in the slime. The beautiful elf replied that she didn't know how she got there, but even if she did know, it wasn't something she wanted to share. Akira found this reasonable and had no problem with her not wanting to share more. Looking back at her, Akira noticed something strange but unexpected. Perhaps because he had activated the Eye of the World skill as soon as she woke up, he could now clearly see her state. From her state, Akira learned that the beautiful elf's name was Amelia Rosequartz of the High Elf clan. According to what he heard, the High Elves were like the royal family of the elves, but what attracted his attention the most were her impressive stats, especially her magical power, which was described as immeasurable in her status. What does that mean? And as if Akira didn't have enough surprises today, he realized that Amelia also possessed the Eye of the World skill. This special skill was very rare, but by chance he encountered another person who also possessed this skill right in the depths of the dungeon. Since she also has this skill, Amelia can see Akira's status, including his name and basic information. She didn't hide it, but called him by name and asked why he was in the dungeon. Akira replied that he was here to increase his level. After that, a moment of awkward silence stretched between the two. Looking closely at Amelia, Akira noticed that she had white hair and red eyes, very different from most other elves, who usually had blonde hair and blue eyes. Akira tried to break the awkwardness between the two by asking Amelia about her plans later, whether she planned to return to the Goblin continent. However, Amelia suddenly boldly replied that she planned to stay with Akira. The boy did not expect this answer and told her about his plan to return home after completing the dungeon. Amelia turns away and tells Akira that he no longer has a place in the human castle. This answer shocked Akira, and he immediately asked the meaning of those words. Amelia points out that they have the same eyes, so Akira should understand why he no longer has a place there. Akira felt like she was talking about the Eye of the World skill, but perhaps because his level was too low, he couldn't really understand what she meant. Amelia replied that he didn't understand because he had rejected those eyes. Before Akira could ask further to understand better, she said that she was tired and needed to rest. Akira had no choice but to agree to let Amelia rest, but he continued to think about what she said. Before going to bed, Akira expanded the scope of his threat detection skills to include the area around Amelia, making sure she was safe as well. A considerate gentleman. Meanwhile, Amelia thinks about the words she said to Akira. She knew that those words applied not only to Akira, but also to herself. She also has no place to return to. Lost in sad thoughts, Amelia felt a warm breeze touching her skin on the cold floor. Akira used living magic to create a warm breeze for her. She realized that although Vlad or Akira may have been a good person, in the end, he cared for her more than anyone in the Goblin village. Even her younger sister rejected her. Amelia remembered the moment she looked into Akira's eyes and said that he came from another world. She wondered what Akira's world was like and what the people there were like. Meanwhile, at the human castle, Tsukasa is trying to rally the people and propose a plan to defeat the Demon King, hoping to convince them to join the battle. However, most people mocked Tsukasa, while some were surprised that he volunteered to leave in this chaotic situation. Just a while ago, Commander Saran was killed, which everyone believes was caused by Akira. Tsukasa remained calm, because he knew most of those taunts came from the effects of the curse. The purpose of the curse is to prevent people from cooperating with each other. However, these complaints gradually became annoying to Tsukasa. The king and princess are clearly doing everything they can to defeat Tsukasa, but he declares that he has no intention of giving up. Tsukasa is determined to leave the castle, even if he has to go alone. Just as he was about to leave in frustration, one person in the crowd suddenly volunteered to join him, such as Samurai Asahina Kyosuke. It seemed that only the first person needed to step forward, because soon after, 4 other people, including Ueno, also quickly expressed their desire to fight the Demon King along with Tsukasa. Tsukasa announced that their departure was irreversible, regardless of whether the king agreed or not. He ordered everyone to quickly disperse, gather their belongings, and leave the castle before they were stopped. Meanwhile, a guard is secretly observing Tsukasa's group from the back wall. He did not intervene, just quietly turned back to report to the owner. The new group of warriors, led by Tsukasa, succeeded in escaping the castle. The strange thing was that there was no resistance at the city gate, which made them feel a bit unusual, but they thought it might be due to luck. Tsukasa needed to confirm something, so he asked why they decided to follow him. Ueno points out that it is possible that all 6 warriors are now no longer affected by the curse. They didn't know exactly how the curse was broken, but Asahina probably knew a little about it. Asahina recounts the story of how he found himself in a room and destroyed 6 crystals with his katana. The 6 crystals may represent the 6 warriors now freed from the curse. However, this is just a hypothesis. There are many unanswered questions, like what caused Asahina's body to destroy those crystals. They examined the katana to see if it was a cursed object, but there were no signs of anything strange with the weapon. It is a pure white katana named Hakuryu. While they were still near the city, the brave warriors decided to continue moving forward and solve the next questions. Meanwhile, the guard who had been observing Tsukasa's group now returned and reported to his master. Luckily, the master the soldiers reported to was the deputy commander, not the king. From the report, it seems that the king still did not know about Tsukasa's actions. The deputy commander felt relieved because this meant he had bought Tsukasa more time. He hoped the group of heroes would take advantage of that precious time. Meanwhile, Tsukasa is approached by one of the 6 warriors who wants to better understand the overall strategy to defeat the Monster King. In response, Tsukasa proposed a meticulous and calculated approach, emphasizing the importance of addressing each challenge systematically and carefully. He emphasized that the immediate goal was to escape the dangerous forest and leave the territory controlled by the brutal king. Tsukasa advises everyone to be very careful, avoiding thoughtless actions that could endanger safety or hinder progress. Meanwhile, Asahina Kyosuke is immersed in his memories, recalling memories with Akira and Tsukasa over the years. The 3 have been classmates since kindergarten. But the relationship between Tsukasa and Akira has always been tense. Akira, who has a mysterious personality, has the ability to disappear before anyone sees him. This is often misunderstood as coldness or even hostility. Kyosuke noticed that Tsukasa didn't like people who didn't acknowledge his presence, and that's exactly what Akira did. Kyosuke still clearly remembers his unexpected encounter with Akira while he was working at a construction site. Akira's discomfort was evident, probably because of the surprise that Kyosuke recognized him. This situation is actually a bit ironic, because Kyosuke himself did not expect that Akira would miss him. However, a chance encounter led to an emotional conversation. Kyosuke reassures Akira that working part-time jobs is not against school regulations if Akira is worried about possible consequences. In fact, Akira's worry is not about being reported, but about hiding his secret work from his friends. Their friendship quickly develops as they discover a common bond. They both have younger sisters, and they happen to be best friends. The bond between Akira and Kyosuke doesn't stop at school, as they begin to spend more time together outside of school. However, their peaceful friendship is suddenly interrupted when they are drawn into a strange world. Unreasonable accusations were hurled at Akira, making Kyosuke's heart heavy with sadness and regret. He deeply regretted not being able to help when the unreasonable crowd called Akira a monster. Since coming to this strange world, Kyosuke has not had a chance to talk to Akira. Regret bit him, as he knew that he should have made more of an effort to establish a channel of communication with his old friend before the unfortunate events occurred. As the situation worsened, Kyosuke felt more burdened, thinking about the impression he might have left on Akira when he became part of the crowd that believed Akira was guilty, a murderer. He wondered if his actions would affect their friendship, and if Akira would hate him for not standing by his side in times of need. These thoughts made Kyosuke's heart hurt even more, making him crave a chance to redeem himself even more. Although their friendship stems from a simple and innocent connection through their younger sisters, current circumstances have thrust them into a much more complicated situation. Kyosuke wishes for a chance to right the wrongs of the past and mend the emotional gap that has arisen between him and Akira since they arrived in this strange world. While Kyosuke was deep in thought, Tsukasa suddenly interrupted with a curious tone, enthusiastically asked about Kyosuke's motivation for participating in the hero's dangerous journey. Kyosuke's eyes light up with determination, and he reveals that his main goal is to reunite with Akira. This statement caused Tsukasa to react unexpectedly. A look of discomfort flashed across his face. However, Kyosuke was not at all bothered by that reaction. He goes on to remark that Akira and Tsukasa have many notable similarities. This statement made Tsukasa feel even more uncomfortable, and the haste in ending the conversation became apparent. Although Tsukasa holds no grudge against Akira, he cannot deny the similarities between them. Even though Tsukasa implicitly signaled to stop, Kyosuke still didn't notice. He persistently emphasizes the burdens that both Akira and Tsukasa must carry, despite their very different natures. One person hides in his heart, and the other faces it alone, both trying to endure the pressure of the other. Back in the confusing maze, Amelia and Akira are fighting a giant and terrifying enemy. Amelia's quick and skillful movements proved extremely important, helping her quickly defeat the terrifying monster. She activated the skill Gravity, pulling the monster down to the ground where it met its end. Akira felt a wave of relief, seeing that Amelia was not as much of a burden as he had initially thought. After the terrifying battle, the two rested, regained their strength, and shared a much-needed meal. In this moment, they temporarily put aside the fears around them. Before starting the meal, Akira took a moment to pray, a habit from his world. Amelia, curious about this ritual, decided to imitate Akira's movements, clasping her hands as in prayer and asking if she was doing it right. Amelia's curiosity makes her even more interested in Akira's customs, and she begins to ask more about his personal life. Amelia continued to ask Akira about his family and closest friends. Akira, in a rare moment of weakness, opens up to Amelia about his past. He grew up in a family with only his mother and younger sister, who were the breadwinners in life. His father left when Akira was 10 years old, leaving the burden of taking care of his weak mother and 2 children to Akira. Therefore, Akira must shoulder the responsibilities of an adult. His father had no intention of taking care of a sick wife and 2 children, so he left. To maintain a living, Akira has to work many part-time jobs while still studying. Recently, his sister volunteered to help, easing Akira's burden and giving him more time at home. Akira's story is touching, full of emotion and resilience. In response, Amelia also shared that she also has a younger sister. It seems like everyone has a sister in this story. Amelia's younger sister excels in every field, from beauty to diverse skills. Amelia, on the other hand, feels a lack of confidence when compared to her younger sister, whom she considers almost perfect. Akira expressed skepticism about this, suggesting that spending time with seemingly flawless people might not be as enjoyable as one might think. He compares his relationship with Tsukasa, emphasizes the appeal of people with weaknesses and flaws who don't hide behind a false facade of perfection. During the conversation, Akira suddenly showed a craving for rice, surprising Amelia. She informed him that rice also existed in their current world, which made Akira very surprised and happy. She also revealed that the first hero founded a country called Yamato, which has many similarities to Akira's original world. The possibility of visiting Yamato filled Akira with hope. However, Akira clearly knows that his main goal is to focus on increasing his strength and avenging the fallen commander Saran. Amelia, always a steady source of encouragement, assured Akira that he possessed great strength, and in her eyes, he was one of the strongest people she had ever met. Akira is aware of his own strength, realizing that even without relying on the eye of the world skill, he still possesses formidable abilities. However, he is still aware that his current strength is not enough to complete the mission and carry out justice for Commander Saran. To achieve his goals and overcome upcoming challenges, Akira must constantly strive, reach level 100, overcome his limits, and discover his true potential. Driven by his desire to master swordsmanship, Akira sets out on a challenging adventure to conquer a dangerous level. However, his efforts were more difficult than he imagined, leaving him feeling stuck and hopeless. After sharing their difficulties, Amelia, a devoted companion, decides to help Akira. She wields great magical power and skillfully blocks Akira's skills for a short period of time, leaving him unable to use his normal abilities. In a quick and skilled display of magic, Amelia surprised Akira with her speed and proficiency. Suddenly, Amelia with her sharp senses realized a threat was approaching from above. A giant monster with ferocious wings floated in the air. Akira felt his heart pound as he realized the danger of the situation. When he realized his threat, sensing, and detection skills had been blocked, Akira fell into a state of insecurity and vulnerability. The familiar tools that helped him predict danger could now not be used, making him feel insecure. Amelia, with an encouraging voice, encouraged Akira to do his best, and assured him that she would intervene if necessary. However, before Akira could come up with a detailed plan, the bat-like monster attacked. It took advantage of Akira's weak state, surprising him. Without support skills, Akira had difficulty defending and creating a solid defense line, leaving him vulnerable to the monster's constant attacks. Although Akira recognized this creature from their previous encounter, he understood that this battle would be much more difficult without his familiar skills to assist him. The monster possesses a special trait that can deceive and confuse its opponent's senses, making it extremely difficult to track and predict its actions. Akira faces a huge challenge, his mind filled with the difficulty of the situation. However, Amelia remained his unwavering support, encouraging him to persevere and emphasizing that relying solely on his blocked skills and senses was futile. Inspired by Amelia's advice, Akira turned his attention to an unaffected source of power, the mana flowing through his body. Realizing that sensing and controlling the flow of mana can enhance both physical and mental strength, Akira feels a glimmer of hope in this difficult confrontation. With new determination, he began to explore the untapped potential of mana manipulation skills. Instead of trying to hide or blend into the darkness as usual, Akira chose a new approach. He studied the art of shadow casting, using the subtle flow of mana to create a living copy of himself. As the bat monster rushed towards the replica image, it was fooled by the reality of the illusion. Akira took advantage of the golden opportunity and performed an extremely fast and precise sword strike. Destroy threats in a snap. Great move, Akira. Amelia stood there, amazed at the creativity and intelligence of the extraordinary strategy Akira had implemented. She couldn't take her eyes off his performance and was curious about how Akira achieved such an impressive victory. Akira humbly attributes his success to his unique way of understanding and applying Amelia's guidance. He combines his exceptional mana manipulation skills with his trained swordsmanship techniques to overcome challenges. Even though the monster was dead, the block of mana that created Akira's clone was still there as an independent entity. This achievement is not only impressive, but also almost impossible. Normally, only mages with outstanding magical abilities could create independent mana structures. However, this skill is not completely unheard of. Historically, it was done by the first hero, a legendary figure from the past. Akira and Amelia, with unrelenting determination, continued to advance deeper into the dangerous dungeon. Undeterred by the challenges ahead, they persevered and finally stood before the majestic 80th floor. They couldn't help but marvel at the vast space before them. A floor larger than any they had ever encountered before, with a scale and grandeur that surpassed the previous floors. Before their eyes was a giant staircase that stretched endlessly, reaching high into the sky. Akira's sharp eyes scanned the surroundings. Look for any signs or clues to the presence of the boss they will be facing. Curiosity invaded his mind, urging him to explore the hidden mysteries of this floor. Surely the boss is hiding somewhere. How did they detect its presence? Then, as if responding to their desire to explore, a beautiful scene appeared right above their heads. A beautiful creature stretched its wings and flew into the sky, its grace surprising them both. Akira's eyes immediately turned upward. His heart seemed to stop beating as he looked at the majestic figure of a dragon. Its vast wings stretched out, blanketing the dark landscape of the deadly dungeon. Akira's instincts immediately sensed danger, forcing him to act quickly. Akira quickly pulled Amelia out of the dragon's reach, ensuring her safety. This sight filled them with excitement, realizing that they were facing a wonder of a legendary world. A dragon, the ultimate symbol of power and legend. Akira's mind raced against time, trying to come up with a plan amidst the chaos and uncertainty around him. He quickly understood that directly attacking the flying dragon was useless, a dangerous action that could lead to disaster. Thinking on the spot, Akira suggested to Amelia that she should take advantage of her excellent gravity magic skills, using that power to pull the dragon to the ground, taking away its flying advantage. Despite knowing the potential risks, Amelia nodded in agreement, her eyes filled with determination and a little worry. She reminded Akira to be very careful, because as the dragon was pulled down by gravity, there was a risk he would be caught up in the chaos and crushed under the weight of the giant creature. With a decisive nod, Amelia used all of her magical power, manipulating the forces of nature to create a powerful suction, pulling the dragon down from the height it had occupied. Realizing the opening opportunity, Akira's heart pounded with excitement. He rushed forward like a hunting eagle. The blowing wind made his senses sharper, focusing on a single goal: deal a decisive blow to the dragon's powerful defense. Akira clutched the katana in his hand, his eyes filled with determination. Concentrating fiercely, he quickly discovered a weak spot and stabbed the sword deep into the dragon's neck, aiming to cause the greatest damage. A wave of excitement spread through Akira as he believed he had dealt the fatal blow, rendering the dragon unable to fly, despite Amelia's use of gravity magic. However, fate had other plans. The dragon, surpassing all expectations, displayed extraordinary strength and forcefully threw Akira off its back. Akira was thrown into the air, somersaulting through the air. The ground quickly appeared, and he fell with a loud crash, sending up a cloud of dust. Dizzy, but Akira was not discouraged. He quickly checked his condition, making sure he was not seriously injured. Unexpectedly, the dragon was still standing, although clearly weakened by the fierce attacks. Akira could not hide his surprise, admitting that he did not expect the dragon to survive the fatal stab to the neck. However, he also felt comforted because he believed that his attack had caused great damage, reducing the dragon's ability to fly. Amelia, her eyes both worried and surprised, agreed with Akira's feelings about the dragon's extraordinary resilience. Dragons, famous for their indomitable strength, are not easily subdued by a sword. This made Amelia feel confused, as if something wasn't right. An uneasy feeling began to creep into her mind, and Akira agreed, commenting that this dragon was markedly different from the chimera he had faced before. Even while using the Eye of the World to analyze its attributes, Akira couldn't help but notice that the dragon's stats seemed lacking, as if something was hidden in mystery. The two stood motionless in amazement as the dragon, with its strong will, continued to move forward. Sensing danger, Akira unconsciously rushed forward, stand between the monster and Amelia, protecting her from any possible danger. Fire burst from the dragon's mouth, creating a sea of fire that burned everything in its path. With lightning-fast reflexes, Akira skillfully dodged the fire attack, his body moving smoothly and flexibly despite the dire situation. Unmoved by the firestorm, Akira remained steadfast, determined to close the distance with the dragon. He is confident that his katana can overcome any obstacle, and also acknowledges Amelia's worries about the dragon's mysterious power and the unknowns surrounding it. Akira clung tightly to his steadfast beliefs. He believes that, as long as the sword is effective, there is no reason for him to hesitate in pursuing victory. Gathering all his remaining courage, Akira bravely performed a jump without hesitation, his body rising into the air, light and graceful like an acrobat. With unwavering precision, he dove down. The katana found the weak spot on the dragon's forehead with absolute precision. The sound of steel colliding with dragon scales echoed in the air. Through a combination of dark magic and unshakable determination, Akira tamed the once mighty dragon. In a breathtaking display of skill and strength, the once dominant and mighty dragon instantly began to fall under the irresistible pull of gravity. It fell to the ground in a majestic sight, but at that moment, a miracle happened. The dragon undergoes a strange transformation and takes on a completely unexpected form, a slender and graceful black cat. This scene surprised both Akira and Amelia, their minds spinning, trying to make sense of this incomprehensible transformation. The fierce, terrifying dragon has transformed into a tiny cat, breaking all rules of logic and challenging their understanding of the world. To further surprise, the cat opened its mouth and spoke, its voice carrying confusion and a bit of reluctant admiration. It commented on being defeated by a human, something it had previously despised because of that human's appearance. With a change in tone, the cat implied that no human had ever dared to go as far as the 80th floor before. And so, he decided to play with them a little. Although surprised, Akira still faced the cat, feeling hurt by criticism about my appearance. However, the cat still appeared indifferent, his cold attitude clearly expressed through every sentence. It gently dismissed Akira's worries, and continued to convey a message. It's important that Akira is curious about the person who sent him the message, because besides his classmates, he can't think of anyone else who knows about him. He immediately asked about the person who sent the message. This causes the cat to reveal that the message came directly from the Demon King. Quoting the Demon King, the cat informed Akira that the Demon King was eagerly awaiting his appearance in the depths of the Demon Castle, located on the volcanic continent where the monsters live. Meanwhile, in another corner of the vast forest, Tsukasa and the other students successfully traversed a long path. Finally, they reached the great nation of Yamato. Akira was surprised to hear that the Demon King was waiting for him. He asked the cat about the reason behind this. But the cat admitted that he did not clearly understand the Demon King's purpose. It just knows that it has the responsibility to convey this message. The cat explains that creatures like him, magical creatures, were created by the Demon King and serve as the Demon King's eyes, ears, and hands. Everything they observe and hear is passed on to the Demon King, without exception. Confused, Akira continued to ask the cat if that meant the Demon King was the one who created the monsters, as he always thought it was a god who did it. The cat quickly rejected that belief and clearly remembered the day the Demon King directly created it. Akira ponders Commander Sauron's lessons, doubting the cat's claims, as Sauron taught him the opposite. However, Akira begins to consider the possibility that the myths and knowledge passed down by humanity may have been wrong all along. Suddenly, the cat asked Akira to end its life. Akira was startled and asked the reason for this request. The cat explains that he has completed his mission, and now that the transformation is over, he sees no value in prolonging his existence. Instead of agreeing, Akira hugged the cat, expressing his unwillingness to harm this majestic creature with beautiful silky fur. The cat felt embarrassed and surprised. It asked Akira to stop. Amelia joins in and tells Akira that this is unfair, as she also wants to hug and play with the cat. Even though the cat asked to stop, Amelia pointed out that if you really hate this so much, why not run away? The cat explained that it had to compress its body to the limit to resist the pull of Amelia's magic, and now it couldn't stand it anymore because both Amelia and Akira had broken many of its bones. So the cat suggested that they end its life. However, Akira objected. The cat believes that if Akira spares it, it will become a laughingstock when it returns home. Akira seized this opportunity and suggested that since the cat couldn't go home, he should follow them. The cat asked Akira if he understood the meaning of what he just said, and Akira confirmed that he did. The cat warned Akira that if it stayed with him, all of Akira's actions and words would be reported to the Demon King. Akira reassures the cat that he knows that, but in return, the cat will have a place to belong. Akira also added that the Demon King would eventually gather information about them, and for him, he would know more about Morrigan and have the opportunity to play with the cat every day. The cat was surprised, admitting that he could not understand how the human brain worked. Amelia reminds the cat that no matter what, they won the match, meaning they have the power to decide about its life. So the cat shouldn't protest anymore. The cat agrees to go with them, but warns them not to regret this decision. Akira laughed and pointed out that the cat spoke confidently, despite not being able to move. When Akira tried and failed to find a way out of the basement, he remembered that, unlike this time, every time he defeated a monster, a door or staircase would appear on the next floor. The cat explains that there is no way out, because the dungeon does not allow the boss of this floor to survive. The dungeon created by the Demon King has a will of its own to prevent any monsters from escaping. The cat asked Akira if he would change his mind and kill it. It makes it clear that not only the exit, but also the entrance will be closed until it dies, and they will face the risk of starvation if they continue like this. However, Akira told the cat that even though killing it might make things easier, he still chose to take it with him. Amelia added that it was still too early to give up. Akira asks if Amelia has found a way for them to escape, and she answers yes, but suggests that they name the cat first. Akira was confused as to why Amelia wanted to name the cat, but the cat quickly realized that Amelia wanted Akira to make a contract with him, making them master and servant. Akira doesn't really understand what a contract is, so Amelia explains that it is a contract that binds the soul of a human to a monster. She added that usually only demon people can control monsters, but there are also humans who have a strong bond with monsters. The first hero created this bond through a ritual called a contract. The cat realizes that Amelia wants Akira to become its new owner, to free it from the responsibility of being the boss of the dungeon floor. Amelia confirms this and believes that since Akira can control mana like the first hero, he can do the same. However, the cat warns them that the contract will not happen unless both the person giving the name and the person receiving the name agree. Once the contract is established, it will last until both die unless both decide to end. They will always know each other's location and can communicate via telepathy. If one of them dies, the other will die soon after. Akira tried to understand what he had just heard, but the cat interrupted his thoughts and said that most normal humans would hesitate, knowing that they would both die. The cat also mentioned the strange mana it felt from Akira and said that just by being near him, it could feel it. It then asked Akira if he was human. Akira replied that he wasn't sure anymore and wondered if he had entered the world of monsters. This surprised the cat and made him wonder if normal humans would describe themselves like that. Giving up on trying to understand Akira, the cat asserted that he found it more convenient to stay in this state anyway, as he could not face the Dark Lord again after losing a human child. The cat raised its claws towards Akira, and Akira grabbed it. He informed the cat that he was Oda Akira, who would become its owner, and named it. In return, the cat promised to always be with him, no matter where he was, and pledged to be with him until death do them part. Akira decided to name the cat Yoru, inspired by its fur resembling the beautiful night sky. Yoru cherishes the name and praises it as a great choice. It accepted the name and once again vowed to serve Akira for life. Akira and Amelia warmly welcome Yoru to their team. Telepathy is a special ability that allows two individuals to communicate with each other using thoughts instead of words. Amelia, with her keen observation, noticed an unfamiliar symbol on the back of Akira's hand. Immediately, she commented that the mark was very similar to the mark on Yoru's forehead. Yoru, using telepathy, continued to explain to Akira that the symbol on his hand was proof that their souls were linked. This agreement allows them to communicate spiritually. Curious, Akira asked Yoru if its relationship with the Demon Lord still existed, now that he had become Yoru's partner. Yoru confirms that the bond with the Demon Lord will last forever. Akira wondered if the new contract with Yoru would make the Demon Lord angry. Yoru reassures him that the Demon Lord will not mind, suggesting that Akira may consider himself its second master. Although still skeptical, Akira asked Yoru for confirmation about the agreement, and Yoru responded with unwavering confidence and encouragement. Meanwhile, in the midst of their conversation, an unexpected and brilliant circle appeared, attracts Amelia's attention, and causes her to inform them of this strange event. Yoru tells Amelia that her plan was successful, as it is now under Akira's control. The dungeon no longer recognizes it as a boss monster, and the path to the next floor is finally clear. Open. Akira noticed a difference in the exit of this floor compared to the previous floors. Instead of stairs or doors, there was a glowing circle. Amelia explains to Akira that this circle is a magical portal, which can take anyone who enters to the desired location. Curious, Akira asked Amelia what would happen if many people entered the circle at the same time. Amelia explains that the circle chooses only one destination for one person, and all will be taken there. Suddenly, Akira realized that this magic circle was identical to the one that appeared in his classroom. He wondered if this was the same circle, and if anyone in his class wanted to go to this parallel world. Akira believes it's possible, as many of his classmates are dissatisfied with their daily lives and may have dreamed of escaping to another world. Amelia interrupted Akira's thoughts by saying that she was hungry. Meanwhile, Akira's classmates, who have entered the country of Yamato, are having a wonderful time. Enjoy many Japanese dishes similar to what they ate in their world. They appeared to have showered and changed their clothes. Tsukasa asks Asahina and Suda if they can meet after eating. He explained that he was looking for a book in Yamato. The other students looked at each other confused, so he made sure he didn't ask them to buy the book. He said that there was a lot they didn't know about Morrigan, and if they hadn't met a kind merchant in the woods to show them the way, they might have been lost. Asahina agrees with Tsukasa and realizes how foolish they were to not suspect anything when they were banned from the castle library. Tsukasa adds that they don't have much in this new world, and they need to learn how to live in Morrigan. Asahina tells Tsukasa that if he plans to leave the city, he wants to find the book together because cooperation in this new world will be easier. Tsukasa is thoughtful and silent, expressing his desire to cooperate with Akira. However, he knew that Asahina might not agree with what he was about to do. However, once the preparations are complete, Tsukasa's plan is to head to the continent where the Demon Lord resides. He asserts that without Akira, he is the real hero, and so he will not wait for Akira or follow in his footsteps. His main goal is to quickly defeat the Demon Lord and ensure everyone's safe return to his world. During the discussion, Tsukasa suggests that if the three boys leave the city, they should return to Hatagoya first, as their laundry will be dry by then. Tsukasa suggests that they go to the port together. He went on to suggest that after the meal, they should form their own group. While eating a spoonful of ramen, Tsukasa ponders whether Akira has eaten enough and prays for his strength. Meanwhile, at the dungeon, Akira and Amelia share a meal. Akira informs Amelia that the lack of stairs and the appearance of the magic circle indicate that the 80th floor is the final floor of the maze. Yoru pretended not to understand what Akira was saying, but Akira reminded Yoru that he was formerly the boss of this place and must have some understanding. Yoru explains that everything depends on the labyrinth's will, but if they go through the circle, they will be taken to their destination. Akira mentions the strange feeling about the 80th floor and believes that they have explored most of the labyrinth, but have not reached the 100th floor area. He urges them to continue their journey until they find it. Yoru was surprised and asked if Akira had a goal of reaching the 100th floor in the labyrinth. Akira replied that that was the last thing Commander Saran wanted. This revelation shocked Yoru. It clarified if they were talking about Saran Mizre. Akira confirmed and asked Yoru if he knew Commander Saran. Yoru explained that they had known each other for a long time and wondered if Saran, who had been staying at the main temple, had come to the labyrinth. Akira confirms this, and Yoru asks if Saran is dead. Akira reveals that he was killed, motivated by revenge. Akira expressed his desire to seek justice for those who killed Saran, unaware that his desire for revenge has awakened a fierce bloodlust and strong threatening power within him. This sudden transformation affected Amelia, making it difficult for her to breathe. In a panic, she cried out to Akira, informing her that he was causing her pain. When he heard her plea for help, he quickly controlled his emotions and reduced his overwhelming craving for blood. Yuru reflects that Akira's bloodlust almost makes him think he has lost his humanity. Yuru acknowledged the power of the main castle, but clarified that the challenges they encountered in the labyrinth were the exact opposite of what they expected. It added that in some cases their normally durable swords were broken, mainly due to the nature of the dungeon. Yuru warns Akira that if he only relies on sword techniques, he will fall into a dangerous situation in the labyrinth, which is full of powerful monsters with physical strength. Furthermore, Yuru emphasized that if regular swords proved effective, Akira could easily overcome monsters with magic. Yuru advised him that if he entered the labyrinth with just a sword without exploiting the magical abilities hidden within, his chances of winning were almost zero. Realizing this, Akira deduced that practicing only with swords throughout the journey in the labyrinth would increase the difficulty to the point that it could be considered hard mode. Amelia wondered if all the labyrinths were like where they were. Yuru explains that each labyrinth has its own unique characteristics to illustrate. Yuru mentions the labyrinth in Owl Forest, which is a complete contrast to their current labyrinth, because in that labyrinth, magic skills have almost no effect on boss monsters. Akira thought for a moment and realized that there might be other labyrinths on other continents as well. He understood that if their goal was to reach the 100th floor, they would probably need to explore a labyrinth on another continent. The decision had been made. They prepared to move forward. Yuru surprised them by shrinking down to the size of a normal cat and jumping onto Akira's shoulder as he headed towards the entrance. Akira contemplates the possibility of returning to his original world, where his mother and sister might be waiting. However, he changed his mind, realizing that there were many important tasks that needed to be completed before thinking about returning. Amelia is worried about Akira's sudden emotional state, but her worries are eased when he apologizes and reassures her that he is completely fine. Mustering their courage, they walk together into the mysterious glowing circle. In the blink of an eye, a blinding light surrounded them, and after just a few short moments, they mysteriously disappeared. Many years ago, Amelia and her sister Kirika accidentally discovered a hidden room filled with ancient books and interesting objects. This shop is hidden away in a forgotten corner of the castle with dusty bookshelves and creaky floors. Amelia and Kirika sneak into the store, full of curiosity and mischief, knowing they are breaking the rules. Kirika discovered something interesting and called Amelia over with excitement. As they had fun, the two accidentally made a little noise, but Kirika quickly covered Amelia's mouth, afraid that their father would catch them. Kirika shows Amelia an ancient book she found among the books. In it, they saw a beautiful picture of two girls with similar appearances. One had white hair and red eyes, while the other had blonde hair and blue eyes. Both girls were fascinated by the painting, and Kirika guessed that the two girls in the painting were royalty, while Amelia also speculated that they were twins like she and Kirika because of the obvious similarities between the two. Then, Kirika discovered a strange text on a picture of a girl with white hair and red eyes, and she wondered what the text under the girl's photo said. She also realized that the girl in the picture had white hair just like Amelia. Suddenly, a mysterious cloaked figure appeared through the open door with a mysterious smile. The man in the cloak approached them, both scary and interesting, and asked if they wanted to know the meaning of the words in the picture. Both girls panicked, feeling both scared and nervous. Kirika inquires about the stranger's identity, while Amelia, oblivious to her worries, eagerly begs the stranger to reveal the meaning of the inscription in the painting. Finally, unable to be patient any longer, the man leaned over and revealed to them that the meaning of the word written on the painting was atonement. Back in the present, the glowing circle succeeded in getting Akira and Amelia out of prison and into a forest. This surprised both of them. Amelia quickly recognizes familiar sights and discovers to her surprise that they have been transported to the Elven Kingdom. She wondered why they came here instead of somewhere else, when all she wanted was to go somewhere with Akira, not this particular place. Yoru recognizes the Elven Sacred Tree and informs Akira that they are in Elven territory. Confused, Akira turned to Amelia for confirmation, asking if they were really returning to her hometown. However, Amelia, panicked, ignored Akira and began muttering about the dire consequences if they continued to stay in this state. Suddenly, an arrow flew quickly through the air, almost hitting Amelia, but luckily Akira promptly pulled her out of danger. Recognized the characteristic style of the arrow, Amelia recognized the attacker when she saw the shooter. Akira hid in the bushes, keeping a safe distance. He ignores Amelia's joy at returning and decides to face the attacker. The attacker tries to shoot one more arrow, but before he could do that, Akira quickly appeared from behind, put a knife in his neck. Akira warned and affirmed that if he dared to move, he would not hesitate to slit his neck. Amelia finally caught up with them, and recalls the attacker's name as Liam Gladiolus, a member of an elite aristocratic family. Liam laughed scornfully and mockingly, commenting that he was surprised to meet the princess. He said that during an expedition, he accidentally discovered a glowing circle, then saw Amelia appear in front of him. He accused her of shamelessly abandoning her homeland. Amelia tried to explain, insisting that she had not abandoned her country. However, Liam interrupted her and accused her of running away. He asked her if she really believed that disappearing was for the best, but then downplayed the matter, saying it didn't matter anymore. According to him, there was no more room for her in the land of the elves because her sister Kirika would take care of everything. Liam calls Amelia a princess of redemption and announces that her sister will soon arrive, emphasizing that running away will no longer be possible. Akira, starting to feel annoyed with Liam's babbling, quickly stabbed him in the head with a knife, made him unconscious. He orders Yoru to rush forward so they can mount and escape, using Liam as a hostage. Yoru rushed forward and Akira noticed Amelia's hesitation as she prepared to climb up. However, he still pulled her up, and Yoru immediately accelerated to maximum speed. Amelia warns Akira that there are elves in the forest, so escape is impossible as they will chase them. Akira replied that if she could lead them to a more spacious area, he would find a way to use the katana in the middle of the jungle. She nodded in understanding and led them to a safe place outside the forest. A moment later, they escaped the jungle and entered a wide field surrounded by forest trees. Akira breathed a sigh of relief when they finally escaped, just as Amelia predicted. However, Amelia held Akira's arm tightly and warned, instead of escaping, they were accidentally surrounded. They were pressed tightly with no way out, as countless bloody elf warriors surrounded them. Elf archers form a circle around the target, using a two-sided ambush strategy to protect Amelia from danger. Akira ordered her to maintain her position on Yoru. He then asked Yoru for help, who immediately saw Akira's intentions and promised to take care of everything. When they saw Akira capture Liam, the elf archers became angry and started asking how he dared to treat Liam like that. They warn Akira that his life will be in danger if he doesn't release Liam immediately, trying to negotiate. Akira suggested that if he released Liam unharmed, they would allow both him and Amelia to leave. Princess Kirika Rose Quartz, Amelia's twin sister, finally appears, asserting that no such negotiations are possible. She reveals that they were relentlessly chased and had to hide, but now she's caught up with the criminals, and she won't let them get away that easily. Akira questioned her about the accusation that they were criminals and asked if Amelia, as the country's princess, was exempt from this classification. Kirika answered bluntly, claiming that he knew nothing about what was happening in the kingdom. Furthermore, she continued to lower her sleeve, revealing an ugly scar. Kirika explains to Akira that this scar is the result of a wound Amelia caused with medicine. Seeing Kirika's pain, some elves felt sorry for her and expressed sympathy for her. Kirika continued to argue, insisting that anyone who harmed the royal family should be considered a criminal, and this principle applied even if the person doing the harm was a brother of the royal blood. Furthermore, she claimed that Amelia intentionally harmed her with bad intentions. In response, Amelia objected, denying Kirika's accusations. She explains that although she gave Kirika the medicine was replaced by someone with poison. Kirika challenged Amelia, demanding evidence to prove what she said, and questioned whether Amelia was accusing her of making things up. Kirika contemptuously dismissed all arguments and declared that Amelia's existence was a disaster for the country because she was an unwanted child. Kirika stood before Akira and asked if he was the one responsible for sending the criminal back to elf territory. She expressed her gratitude, saying she needed to thank him for bringing her home safely. Suddenly, Kirika focused her gaze on Akira and activated the enchantment skill. Amelia hastily tried to warn Akira not to look her in the eyes, but it was too late. The skill had already been activated. Charm is a skill that helps the user completely control another person's mind and emotions through their eyes. Kirika scolds Amelia for being too late and declares that Akira's heart already belongs to her. She also said that Amelia now has no one on her side. Amelia was angry, claiming it wasn't true, and asked Kirika to apologize to Akira. She explains that Akira's heart is her property and Kirika should not try to take it. Kirika feels uncomfortable with Amelia's attitude and says that her current attitude makes Kirika angry, because until then, Kirika was still scared. Kirika refuses to follow Amelia's request and justifies her actions, asking what was wrong with using her abilities. She said that it was a pity for others because as soon as she used the charm skill, no one could escape, and now Akira belonged to her. Akira reacts and asks when he became someone else's property. Kirika was surprised by Akira's words, while Amelia felt happy to hear him speak. Kirika, looking surprised and confused, wondered why her charm skill didn't work. She thinks that maybe Akira is stronger than her, but refuses to believe it. She claims that she is stronger than him because she is a gold-level heroine. Akira feels impressed when he learns that Kirika is a gold-level hero. He said that he had read in the royal book collection that there were only 4 gold-level heroes in the world, and that was also the highest level of a hero. Kirika tried to confirm that she was among those 4 people. But she ignores Akira and calls him obnoxious, saying that stupid people like Akira don't know their place. She decided to teach him a lesson by drawing her sword. She asked if his name was really Akira, then drew his sword and proposed to organize a match. She said that if he lost, he would realize how stupid he was and give up pursuing Amelia. Kirika found this situation interesting and suggested that if he won, she would promise not to pursue them anymore. Kirika asks Akira if he believes he can defeat her. Amelia tries to warn Akira, but he reassures her that everything will be fine and that since Kirika is her older sister, he will not use the Yatonokami sword. Kirika noticed Akira preparing to fight without drawing his sword and asked if he intended to kill her. She called him other names again and said she didn't know what to say. Akira tried to explain to Kirika that the surrounding elves were just watching and would not interfere in the match. Kirika agreed and he told him to come to her as she was ready to kill him. When preparing for the decisive match, what she could not have expected was how quickly the match would end. As soon as the match began, Akira unleashed a series of combos of unbelievable speed and power, surprising and bewildering Kirika. Kirika barely had time to understand what was happening before she felt an invisible force attack her. The blow was so powerful that she didn't have time to finish her sentence. In just a blink of an eye, she was pushed into the air, thrown away by the strange force of the attack, causing her to fall to the ground with a painful thought. Not only Kirika felt dazed and disoriented, but the elves standing around, eager to witness the dramatic confrontation, were also surprised by this sudden turn of events. Akira's rapid sequence of movements made everyone unable to believe what had just happened before their eyes. As Kirika groaned and collapsed to the ground, Akira confidently declared victory and asked if she was okay. Without waiting for an answer, he pulled Liam away from Yoru and threw him to the ground. Then, Akira picked Amelia up and placed her on Yoru, then climbed on top. Akira quickly left, asking Kirika to keep her promise and not chase them anymore. Kirika did not accept defeat and ordered his teammates to prepare bows and arrows. Akira noticed this situation happening and protested that this was not what was agreed upon. Onlookers believed that Akira could not win fairly, accusing him of using tricks. They started shooting arrows from all directions, but Akira quickly used dark magic as a shield. Destroy the arrows in the process. The elves were surprised to see Akira's dark magic neutralize their arrows. Kirika said in surprise that she had never seen magic that could slaughter so many people at once. She realized that this special magic might be a special skill that Akira possessed. Suddenly, the Goblin King appeared, clearly angry, and demanded an explanation of what was happening. Kirika stood still in shock and fear when her father's sudden appearance took her completely by surprise. Her eyes widened, her body tensed, clearly shocked by his presence. She slowly tried to regain her composure, her voice shaking as she asked her father why he was here. She thought that her father had urgent business to attend to in a remote area. The king, with a serious and cold expression, replied in a low voice, explaining that an unexpected situation had occurred, forcing him to return to the palace. He stared at Kirika, waiting for an explanation of what had happened in his absence. Overwhelmed and unable to find a reasonable answer, Kirika faltered, her words interrupted by anxiety. The king, after observing the situation from afar, reveals that he saw Kirika challenge Akira to a duel, only to be quickly defeated with a single blow. Shame weighed heavily on Kirika, leaving her unable to utter a single word to defend herself. The king's authoritative voice continued to tell the result of the match that Kirika could not have expected. Worse still, he revealed that the soldiers took advantage of the opportunity and launched a surprise attack from behind. The king's words were like a knife, stabbing straight into Kurika, making her feel ashamed and confused. Her face was red, full of humiliation. In a final warning, the king asserted that such bold actions were completely unacceptable for a proud royal family. Pressured by her father's displeasure, Kurika remained silent, unable to utter a single word to justify herself. The weight of the situation hangs heavy in the air, as the king's words emphasize the seriousness of the mistakes Kurika has made, leaving her to face the consequences of her misguided ordeal. The king said he would ask her another question and asked what she intended to do with her sister Amelia. Kurika angrily denies that Amelia is her older sister. In response, her father slapped her hard in the face. The remaining soldiers tried to persuade the king not to be angry with Kurika, explaining that Amelia had treated Kurika very badly. The king was even more disappointed when he realized that Kurika even used charm on the warriors. He ordered Kurika to stop immediately and expressed disappointment with her actions. The king then approached Amelia and apologized for not paying attention to her. However, the king asked Amelia if she really wanted to leave the country with Akira. Amelia couldn't find a suitable answer for her father, so she decided to keep quiet. The king said that she was not allowed to leave because she had a duty to perform as a royal member. He admitted that her freedom was bet on the match that Kurika lost, but he had to go back on his promise. He proposed a new idea, saying that he wanted Akira to fight again, and if Akira won, he would recognize him as king. Akira was surprised and asked the king if he really wanted to fight him, but the king replied that Kurika would be the one to face him. Kurika again wondered why she needed to participate in another battle, especially since she had lost before. The king explains that in the previous match, Kurika underestimated her opponent, Akira. He points out that her carelessness and complacency about her abilities led to her failure. However, he reassured her that she was the strongest swordsman and suggested that she fight on his behalf. Kurika agrees to accept the challenge. The king then turns to Akira and reveals that he was originally considered an intruder in their country. Whether Akira will be released or not will depend on the strength he shows in the upcoming match. After declaring his intention to return to the palace, the king ordered everyone to follow him. Akira told himself that the Elf King was a thorn in his side, but he also understood the reason behind his actions. Meanwhile, Amelia feels depressed and mutters to herself that her father really doesn't love her. Akira was surprised by her words. However, Amelia explains that she feels this way because her father gave Kurika a rematch while ignoring her wishes and desires. Amelia, with a sad expression, added that her father always seemed to favor Kurika in every situation. Akira, wanting to comfort her, tried to explain that he believed it was because Kurika was naive and innocent. However, before he could finish his sentence, Amelia suddenly interrupted. She strongly asserts that the reason her father favored Kurika was because she felt like an unwanted, unloved, and unwelcome child by her parents. She sobbingly reveals that she believes her existence was a mistake and that her parents never wanted her to be born. After a while, their journey brought them to the majestic palace of the Elf Kingdom. Akira couldn't help but marvel at the palace's enormous size and the beauty of its interior. The vastness of the palace made him unable to help but admire its beauty. Noticing Akira's interest, Amelia pointed out that all members of the administrative department, nobles, and servants seemed to be strongly influenced by Kurika, as if they were still under her spell. Suddenly, the king of the Elf Kingdom appeared majestically and spoke to the gathered crowd. He announced that the match between Kurika and Akira would take place right before his eyes, emphasizing the importance of the event. The crowd, seemingly still under the influence of Kurika's charm, began cheering and cheering for her. Cheers rang out simultaneously, creating an atmosphere full of excitement and tension. Akira walked closer to Kurika and faced her directly. He reminded her that it was the king who ordered her to stop the enchantment, but Kurika pretended not to understand what he was saying. She rebutted Akira, asking what he was trying to say. Noticing that Akira still hadn't drawn his sword, she wondered why he hadn't drawn his sword yet. In response, Akira calmly explained that he would continue to use the katana without having to draw it, and asserted that he had no intention of using the sword to deal with her. Unaffected by Akira's words, Kurika tells him to do as she wishes, showing her determination to do her best in the upcoming confrontation. Tension increased when the king announced the start of the match. Not missing the opportunity, Kurika immediately rushed to attack, quickly pointing her sword at Akira. In an unexpected turn, her attack left a visible scratch on his face. Noticing Kirika's talent, Akira admitted that she possessed very strong swordsmanship skills. Realizing the severity of the situation, he decided that it was time to get serious about this fight. With a determined look on his face, he informed Kirika that he was willing to resolve their conflict once and for all. Princess Kirika can't help but admire Akira, and not just because of his fighting skills. She curiously asked him why he agreed to fight her again. Is Emilia really worth him sacrificing his life for her? She concludes that Akira must love Emilia so much that he is willing to sacrifice for her. It was fortunate that Akira was the only person in the palace who had such feelings. The others really didn't care much about her sister. The mid-battle conversation was quite interesting, but Princess Kirika was now ready to continue the fight. She launched another attack, this time using wind application magic. The sword's attack was accompanied by a strong wind, making it difficult for the young warrior to avoid. It was no surprise that she was respected as a swordsman in Elfland. Akira had a hard time believing that the princess was actually suppressing that power, seeing Kirika's seriousness during the match. He decided to put more effort into the war. The young warrior activates the skill Cloak of Darkness, a powerful skill that seems to have a mind of its own, and from there, the battle became a party. Sounds of swords clashing and bodies twisting through the air. Princess Kirika seemed to be in control of the battle, continuing to launch powerful attacks at Akira. Although the warrior can avoid attacks thanks to skill, it is not easy. At one point, the tide of the battle began to turn in Akira's favor as he began to counterattack with a sword thrust or two. Princess Kirika, a seasoned and focused warrior, quickly blocked Akira's blows with her sword. The match turned into a spectacular spectacle and neither side prevailed. Onlookers, including the king, Emilia, and Yoru, all watched closely as the princess and Akira repeatedly confronted each other. Back to the match, an exciting battle that no one dares to blink. Akira decided to experiment by combining physical exertion with psychological warfare. He teased Princess Kirika, saying that she looked like she was about to cry at any moment. However, the game is still a game. The princess was not affected at all. She fought fiercely, as if she had been waiting for this battle her whole life, and to her surprise, she did not cry. Instead, she fought with a smile on her face, as if she was enjoying every moment. Akira approached and asked Princess Kirika if she really hated her twin sister Emilia. Princess Kirika did not say that she hated Emilia, but she admitted that she was determined to hate her. What does this mean? Akira speculates wildly and concludes that Princess Kirika hates Emilia because she is an unwanted child. Oh, someone's clinging to nonsense! The princess shook her head at Akira's stupidity. This boy only has strength but no intelligence. The story of being an unwanted child, according to Princess Kirika, is just an ancient legend. In fact, a long time ago, one of the sisters was killed, but because the elves had difficulty in giving birth to long-lived children, the custom of killing precious children had been abolished since the time of my grandfather. Kirika. This short story gives Akira a new perspective, but still doesn't explain why Princess Kirika constantly criticizes Emilia as an unwanted child, even though Kirika knows it hurts her heart. It looks like a big reveal is approaching. Princess Kirika admitted that it was easy to criticize Emilia because she was not like anyone in her family, making Kirika feel like an ostracized person. But, on the contrary, Princess Emilia is not an ostracized person. More precisely, Emilia was born with the legendary profession Miko. A Miko is a nun, and this profession means you are loved by the gods. As the owner of this, the world will change at will every time you wish for something. Being the twin of a beauty like Emilia was difficult enough, but when she was born as a Miko, it was even more shocking. That was the source of Kirika's pain. She was born an inferior sister and didn't want to stay that way forever. Who says the gods never make mistakes? Princess Kirika continues to tell her harrowing story. When her younger sister Emilia was born as a Miko, she always received the love of the people and gods. Loving one child may sound good, but when it comes at the expense of another child, especially a twin, maybe you should reconsider. The princess regretted the consequences she had to endure as Emilia's older sister. With silver hair and beautiful eyes, Emilia always receives love, gifts, attention, and all the things that Princess Kirika wants. Kirika couldn't help but wish that the birth order was the opposite, and that she was the twin. If so, perhaps she would have been born a Miko, and not have to do all the things she has done so far, including being cruel to Emilia. It seems that Princess Kirika truly loved her sister, but let her jealousy take over. Come on, every villain has a pitiful story. Akira had listened patiently until now. The young warrior let the movements of his sword gently fill the surrounding air. Everyone thought the battle was about to end. In a classic story about an innocent who goes astray and becomes a villain. If that's what you expected, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Princess Kirika looked at Akira and Amelia only to see that they did not understand her feelings. The anger inside her flared up stronger than ever. She drew her sword again and launched a blow at Akira. Akira couldn't avoid it in time because he was distracted. You can only use your hands to block it to avoid serious injury. The princess's sword sank deep into his flesh, and Kirika now had the upper hand in the battle. She was angry, ready to take advantage of Akira's injured arm to march towards victory. However, she was stopped by a call from a familiar voice. That voice belonged to Liam, the boy with whom Princess Kirika was very close. Liam called the princess's name and begged her to stop. Either way, you're just harming yourself. Princess Kirika was surprised that Liam would talk to her like that, but Liam didn't stop there. He approached Amelia, knelt down respectfully, and asked her to forgive him and Princess Kirika for their disrespectful actions. Akira felt as confused as the others. According to Amelia, everyone in the palace was influenced by Kirika's charm. Did Princess Kirika help Liam wake up, or did he free himself? What happened to make her act like that? At this moment, Princess Kirika felt more disappointed than angry. Although everyone in the kingdom paid attention to Amelia, Liam always recognized her efforts and care. She remembered the times Liam invited her to practice swordsmanship, always praising her determination and not forgetting to point out the progress she had achieved. However, despite this, Liam's loyalty remains with Amelia. Liam's recent actions have pushed Princess Kirika into the darkness, into another side. She gave up all remaining feelings for both Amelia and Liam. Both must die. Once both targets were in sight, the princess used the sword's strongest wind attack. Akira wasn't close enough to stop him. And even if he had time, he would still be seriously injured. The princess's powerful wind attack was enough to push Akira, who was injured, to the ground. Imagine what would happen to those they targeted. Amelia and Liam are facing the risk of death, unable to stop the attack. Princess Kirika certainly had a grasp of the situation, but she didn't count on one member of the group, Yoru, the black cat. Yoru shows courage in the face of danger. From Amelia's perspective, she saw the cat jump out of her hand and rush towards the attack. Yoru, the safe place is over there, she tried to call back, but the cat seemed very confident in her decision. Yoru tells Amelia to hide while she carries out her plan. After that, Yoru started to grow bigger. The black cat turned into a giant cat. It jumped straight into the wind. But instead of being swept away by the wind's power, Yoru began to control and even repel the wind. Princess Kirika recognized the cat and felt surprised. This cat isn't bad at all, she thought. But right now her anger is like an express train, difficult to stop. With that rage, she increased the power of her attacks, regaining the advantage. The wind pushed Yoru back a bit, but the black cat had no intention of giving up. After a confrontation that seemed to last for centuries, Yoru finally pushed the attack towards the ceiling. The sudden change in thrust caused Kirika to fall to the ground, unconscious. Liam has the perfect solution that everyone in the palace needs, a branch that the king recognizes as the Holy Branch. According to the king, the Holy Branch contains purifying magic. Liam gave the branch to Amelia so she could perform her magic. Amelia raised the branch and used her skill. After a while, the air began to clear again, and everyone gradually opened their eyes. Purifying magic helps Princess Kirika regain consciousness, but also erases the magic she used on the crowd in the palace. Everyone in the crowd was surprised and didn't understand where they were. They don't remember how they got here, but realized this is the king's palace. So, with respect to the elf king, there was no commotion in the crowd. Others were also healed by the branches. Princess Kirika saw that her magic had disappeared. She let the sword fall and collapsed to the ground in despair. Akira approached from behind, holding his sword as a precaution. He informed her that it was over and she had lost, but Kirika already knew that. Still lying on the ground, the princess bowed her head, a tear rolling down her cheek. Just one drop, then two, and within seconds Kirika began sobbing, wondering where she had gone wrong with this plan. She lamented her unfortunate fate, telling how she had begun to like Liam, who always acknowledged her efforts. She likes him and wants him to like her too. Everything was going well for Liam. but then he was chosen to be the fiancé of her sister Amelia. Akira's ears immediately stood up when he heard that Liam was Amelia's fiancé. "Calm down, boy. The story isn't over yet." Princess Kirika continued to whine, talking about how she liked Liam and couldn't bear to see him taken away. Therefore, she decided to use the enchantment skill for the first time before everything happened. Liam was entranced, completely losing his mind, shocking the Elf King. The boy became madly in love with the wrong girl. In the end, Princess Kirika escaped this situation and married Liam, the husband she always dreamed of, Gladius. Seeing that she had achieved what she wanted through the enchantment skill, Kirika began to explore other uses of the skill. Step by step, she began to enchant everyone in the castle, forcing them to obey her will. All Princess Kirika wants is to take back everything her sister has taken. Throughout this process, Princess Kirika still did not realize where she went wrong. She insisted that she did the right thing. However, Princess Kirika's story was interrupted by a powerful voice. It was her father, the king, who looked his daughter straight in the eyes and told her she was wrong. The man spoke words that could be heard, but no one understood clearly what he was saying. The king clarifies that when Kirika said Amelia had taken everything from him, she was completely wrong. The princess hissed. Even with the end near, her father did not feel the need to hide his favoritism towards his eldest daughter. Love is always present, and probably will always be. The king looked at his daughter with eyes full of pain. He knew that she had been through a lot and understood the choices she had made. However, the king affirmed that Princess Amelia did not take anything away from her sister. He placed his hand on Kirika's head and told his daughter that he had something to confess. Another twist. I'll definitely accept that. The king promised his daughter that he would always love her from when she was a child until now. But then something happened when she was young. He took away part of Kirika's memories. In the end, the one who took something away from the princess was not Amelia, but her father, the king. Everyone, including Princess Kirika, was stunned by the king's confession. They don't know what to think about this and need a little more information to understand the situation. The Elf King apologized to his daughter and expressed his regret for taking away one of her memories. He explained that it was a painful memory that she might not be able to bear, but he is willing to restore it by removing his forgetting skill. He told her to get ready, emphasizing that this memory might bring pain. The king hid something important regarding the relationship between her and her sister. When the time came to free her from the chains of oblivion, Kirika's mind was suddenly flooded with memories, taking her back to a precious moment in the past. She was a little girl, and the familiar face of Liam, her close friend, appeared before her eyes. Their innocent conversations echoed through the years as Liam asked about Kirika's upcoming sword practice. A mischievous smile appeared on Kirika's lips as she begged Liam to keep this secret from her father and sister Amelia. Looking ahead, Kirika felt that this was a truly special sword practice session. Even when she was young, she had a solid ambition burning in her heart. She does not hesitate to embark on challenging adventures in search of strength, and this time, she is led down a seemingly endless staircase, spiraling deep into a dangerous and secret dungeon. Whispers of a taboo secret filled the air, drawing Kirika deeper into its dark embrace. No one knows that the deep corners of the dungeon hide a secret that a mysterious figure has entrusted to her, hidden under a hooded cloak. In the vivid picture of restored memories, Kirika saw that mysterious figure, who was holding a strange object in his hand, accompanied by mysterious instructions. This item, surrounded by a delicate circle, carries an unclear purpose, but Kirika's determination and desire for power drive her forward with a swift and fierce movement. She shattered the object's circular frame, releasing a powerful torrent of energy and unlocking its hidden potential. The mysterious figure assures her that the monsters on the surface are nothing compared to the evil that lurks in the bowels of the dungeon, inviting her with the promise of unprecedented growth and power. Kirika finds herself embroiled in a harrowing battle against the terrible monsters this dungeon contains. Unfortunately, the monsters are too numerous, threatening to devour all her brave efforts. In a desperate attempt to survive, she was forced to retreat, returning to the treacherous path that led to the surface through the spiral stairs that had once taken her down. With each step, her heart beat faster, echoing with the approaching footsteps. The unimaginable reality becomes reality when the giant monsters in the dungeon break through the barriers that hold them captive. Challenge the laws that govern their existence. Amid the chaos, Liam, loyal and steadfast, appears as Kirika's savior. Promises of aid from the royal guard and the Elf King himself bring a glimmer of hope amid the impending crisis. With urgency flowing through their veins, Kirika and Liam tried to move away from the approaching danger. Their hearts were united in a common determination. But Kirika's anxiety increased when she realized the injuries that innocent civilians could suffer when accidentally caught up in battle. The atmosphere became heavy with impending danger as the army of monsters relentlessly chased, forcing both Kirika and Liam into a corner. In a tragic situation, a monster creature takes advantage of the opportunity, its claws piercing Liam's weak body. Kirika's scream rang out, a cry filled with pain. But amidst the tragedy, an unexpected truth happened. Liam, who seemed to have stopped breathing, defied all reason and stood up next to Kirika, holding her tightly in a comforting hug. Confusion and disbelief filled Kirika's mind as she tries to reconcile the memory of Liam's death with his miraculous rebirth. The Elf King interjected, dispelling the fog of uncertainty that had clouded Kirika's thoughts. He confirmed a painful truth. Liam actually passed away on that fateful day. The burden of repentance falls heavily on Kirika's shoulders as she realizes the scale of her sin. In a final act of compassion, motivated by a father's love for his child, the Elf King used his special power, the power of oblivion, to protect Kirika from a heavy burden. I can't stand her actions. He gently picked up her unconscious body, carrying her away from the source of her pain, hoping to protect her fragile heart from deep despair. Time will reveal a shocking truth. Amelia, Kirika's older sister, possesses extraordinary power responsible for destroying the dungeon door. Her ability to control gravity proved to be an essential tool in sealing the entrance, preventing monsters from escaping. As royal soldiers pursue the escapees, Amelia's hidden potential grows, revealing the impressive resurrection skills that brought Liam back from the dead. Against the backdrop of tragedy, Amelia's true power was revealed, far surpassing her previous knowledge of only being able to create magic. Kirika stood still, her emotions fluctuating between overwhelming surprise. The realization that her sister had committed such carefree actions, despite having endured years of ill treatment, sent her into a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The Elf King, always ready to accept responsibility, admitted his own shortcomings, admitting that his intervention had unintentionally put Kirika on a path full of suffering and hurt. The Elf King recognized his own weakness, realizing that his actions came from a father's love, an endless desire to protect his daughter from unbearable pain. His heart ached as he witnessed Kirika's suffering, and he admitted that his misguided efforts to protect her had unintentionally led her to a darker future. Realizing that the inevitable could not be delayed, he promised to correct his past mistakes. Akira intervened, directing Amelia's attention to her own abilities. He advises her to turn off her Ice World skill, an extraordinary power she accidentally used when they first met. When the skill was turned off, Amelia's gaze shifted from the superficial shell of shallow understanding that the status window provided, allowing her to truly feel the world and engage in a genuine conversation with her family, especially with Kirika. Amelia's voice trembled as she admitted that she had struggled with understanding the desires and intentions of others. The compliments she occasionally received through Miko's adoration only served to confuse her further, making her crave deeper understanding. In her search for clarity, she placed firm faith in her World Eyes skill, believing that exploring people's status windows would unlock the answers she desired. However, she now realized that it was fear that held her back, fear of the unknown that held her back. In this moment of sharing, the two sisters ignored their prejudices and ran towards each other, arms outstretched in a long-awaited embrace. Tears mixed with smiles as apologies flowed naturally, mending the distance that had kept them apart for so long. The skill of resurrection is the ability to bring the dead back to life, not to be confused with reincarnation, which controls resurrected creatures against their will. Kirika and her twin sister Amelia share an emotional hug, tears mingling as they exchange heartfelt apologies and regrets. Their faces were wet with tears, reflecting the depth of emotions they were experiencing. Amelia, curious to see Kirika's face without being affected by the World Eyes skill, immediately made a joking request. "Hey, let me see your face without the skill." "Okay, isn't that great?" When she looked directly at Kirika, she exclaimed with a gasp, "Wow, I can really see you when I look into your eyes. I feel your thoughts. It's like we're connecting." On a whole new level, The father, the wise elf king, stood by and watched with a proud and gentle smile as his two daughters reconciled. Their bond was restored in peace and harmony. Even Akira, who usually keeps a calm face, couldn't help but smile as he witnessed the heartwarming moment between the two sisters. He reflects on how their argument stemmed from their strong will and desire to stand on their own 2 feet. As he watched the scene, memories of his own family flooded into his mind. The Elf King's presence reminds Akira of his father, who left with his family 7 years ago, leaving them to face many difficulties alone. Watching the scene of Amelia's family reunion, a forgotten memory suddenly surfaced in his mind. Early one morning, while Akira's father was preparing, he diligently made lunch for the family. Akira watched quietly, realizing that his father had taken care of his brother, sister, and ailing mother without outside help. Suddenly, Akira realized how difficult it was for his father to balance taking care of 2 children and a sick wife. Determination wells up in Akira's heart. He vows to search for his missing father upon returning to Japan, wishing to find closure and understanding of their relationship. Once the tension was resolved, the Elf King humbly apologized to Akira for the initial hostility and sincerely invited him to become a distinguished guest of the Elf Kingdom. Akira felt delighted by the king's generosity and eagerly awaited the warm welcome and delicious food that would await him. It's been a long time since he's enjoyed such delicious food. Once the tension was relieved, Akira's mind began to drift into thoughts. He reflects on the nature of his World Eyes skill and how both he and Amelia used it. The first time he activated the skill, he was thrown into a series of overwhelming status windows, blinding him to the real world. But even in the chaos, he caught sight of an image, that of the Demon King murdering Tsukasa, his classmate, and watching the world fall apart. That memory pierced his heart, strengthening his determination to prevent that terrible future from happening. His thoughts also turned to Amelia's resurrection skill, a potential lifeline if all attempts to change the future failed. He realized he might need to rely on it if the worst happened. As if responding to those thoughts, Amelia found him on the balcony, saying she had been looking for him since dinner. Akira's heart pounded when he realized that she was worried about him. He felt happy to see her getting along with his family and was grateful for her presence. The words he wanted to say to her were stuck in his throat, his emotions welling up strongly. Amelia, sensing Akira's inner struggle, encourages him to look up at the stars. She shares that looking up at the stars makes her feel lucky, and she longs to see more of the world with him. Akira was surprised by her sincere revelation, his mind confused, searching for the right words. Before he could organize his thoughts, Amelia spoke again, affirming that she believed she could help him and wanted to accompany him on his journey. Their intimate moment was interrupted when Kirika burst into the room with a cry for love and hugged her sister. Kirika jokingly suggested that they share a bed and recreate their relationship as sisters, realizing that it had been a while since they had such intimate moments. She apologized for barging in and interrupting the moment Akira and Amelia were sharing, emphasizing the importance of sisterly love. Akira sided with Kirika, encouraging Amelia to accept her sister's proposal. Just for one night, he teased, saying he would continue to enjoy the cool breeze while they bonded again. In the end, Amelia agreed, accepting her sister's request. When Amelia left, Akira took a moment to calm down. I really wanted to express my feelings towards Amelia more clearly, but found myself speechless in that moment. It seemed he was lost as soon as she agreed to join them without hesitation. Realizing that stopping to think about his feelings wouldn't help, he decided that it would be best to rest. After all, a good night's sleep can bring clarity and new perspective. Meanwhile, Yoru, the ever-observant cat, witnessed the entire scene with mischievous eyes. He thought Akira was stupid, unsure of his feelings, and completely confused. As the light of dawn appeared, the Elf King offered to extend his stay, opening the door for new discoveries and adventures in the magical kingdom. However, Akira is resolute in his decision, confident in his will to change the future. Amelia reassures her father that she will return safely, the bond between them now stronger than ever. The Elf King, with a fatherly instinct, insisted on sending guards to escort them to the border, ensuring a safe journey. Realizing the king's sincere concern and appreciating his efforts, Akira completely agreed. Gratitude and promises were given. Akira and Amelia ride their beautiful horse Yoru, ready to go, saying goodbye to the Elf Kingdom and the painful memories they leave behind. Tsukasa and his brave friends proved their abilities by conquering a series of astonishing missions with incredible speed and agility. As they proudly approached the counter to present their completed task, the woman behind the counter couldn't help but marvel at their remarkable efficiency. She opened her eyes wide in surprise, constantly praising them, admiring their achievements, and announcing the details of their well-deserved promotions. Of course, she also asked them to sign the register, a small formality amid the celebration. Now that the brave explorers have been awarded the prestigious gold medal, they can't help but enjoy their newfound glory. They exchanged pleasant jokes, recalled memorable battles, and shared congratulatory applause in a joyful atmosphere. One of the group scoffed that the underground monsters they encountered were like harmless cats compared to the twisted challenges they faced in the maze. Tsukasa disagrees. He craves opponents who can match their skills to truly test his abilities. It would be a shame if leveling up was as easy as their quick wins. However, an unfortunate situation occurs when they find themselves in the middle of Yamato, a land lacking labyrinths to conquer. Asahina and Nanase persistently searched and investigated, not missing any clues in finding Akira Oda. Unfortunately, their efforts were fruitless, and Akira remained an elusive ghost. Tsukasa, with a strategic mindset, proposed leaving Yamato because this place seemed to have no more secrets for them. Asahina, still hopeful, hesitated to ignore the possibility that Akira might be hiding here. Tsukasa thought about how to convince his steadfast friend, but he was relieved when Asahina agreed, believing that Akira had gone further. Asahina declared it was time to leave and start a new adventure. With the consent of all, Tsukasa, the unconquerable hero, spreads out the map. The light illuminates their path for all to see. He points out the journey from the land of Redis to the mainland full of brute people. However, the danger in Yamato is still present, with the possibility that a king may pursue them, sending an army in search of the brave adventurers. Luckily, Yamato has a hidden gem, a busy seaport that will be their escape route. They stand at the crossroads of a big decision, but Nanase, somewhat hesitant, reminisces about the wonderful Japanese food that Yamato is famous for. How can they resist those seductive flavors? Luckily, their creative imaginations came up with a plan. Suda, the group's culinary artist, stepped up, suggesting the possibility of preparing traditional Japanese dishes. Despite lacking familiar spices, the prospect of stocking up on ingredients for the trip filled their hearts with excitement, and they eagerly looked forward to an exciting shopping spree. Asahina and Tsukasa, the group's contemplative couple, chat privately, thinking about their next destination. Asahina wonders which continent they should go to, and Tsukasa, the master strategist, suggests aiming for the kingdom where the powerful demon king resides. However, they realized that to carry out that dangerous mission, they needed to raise their level, and their old weapons and armor needed to be upgraded. Tsukasa was filled with determination as he decided to find a bustling city where they could shop for new equipment and repair their worn armor. With a mischievous look in his eyes, he declared that he had a wonderful place in mind, a legendary paradise of commerce and adventure. Meanwhile, in a desolate and gloomy swamp, shrouded in mystery, a figure emerged from the vague death. The body is covered in a mysterious cloak. Naughty smiles spread across their lips as they enjoyed the new freedom coursing through their veins. Their first job is to cause trouble and turn everything into rubble. With cruel joy, they rejoice in their evil intentions, ready to cause panic in an uncaring world.